count down.
Yes, I didn't see him. What are you looking so sad about, Jeff?
I'm surprised. I mean, I'm really insulted. That's not right, what you just said.
What do you mean, what I just said?
I mean, I'm getting a drink of water. I'm late getting home, but you talking. I said something about the greatest heavyweight champ, man. I'm a hometown man, and you talking about Joe Louis, man. Joe Louis wouldn't be nothing for me. Joe, I tell you, Joe, do you think you would have stood a chance with me?
Well, one time in my career, I was on a Formula One tour.
I would have been a bum compared to you.
What's happening, my people? It's Cass Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. That's right. You know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. Miss Cass, BVO Sports TV, Mike Rem. Salute to everyone and welcome to another episode of Cass Sports, the Boxtorian. Today, boxing in Great Britain. Boxing in Great Britain today. And have the family today. Yeah, we're going to get back into it. We're going to look at a little history of boxing in Great Britain today and some other events concerning boxing in Great Britain. Some of the greatest moments in Great Britain boxing history. Some of the top boxers that come out of there. And we're going to look at some of the current, who's going to be the next great boxers. Boxers currently competing from Great Britain. All that today on Cass Sports, the Boxtorian, bringing you all that boxing history. It's Thursday. We're late in this big week of boxing history. We're going to end it with a bang. We're going to have our profile tomorrow. Don't forget Monday, we got James Lights Out Tony versus The Body Snatcher, Mike McCallum trilogy. So that should be a good one. Don't miss that one. Start another week off with a bang, but we got to end this one up first. So let's get started with our fight of the day today. Okay? As we always do. Let me see if I can look at these archives. See what we got. Oh my goodness, what is going on here? Yeah, got a good fight of the day for you today. There we go. Okay, we're going to get started in a moment. If ain't going too smoothly starting out. There we go. Okay. Fight of the day today is Sugar Ray Robinson versus Randy Turpin. We're going to talk a little about 1 and 2. They had 2 fights. 1 and 2. 2 was on September 12, 1951. 1 was like 5 months before that. Robinson versus Turpin. And 2 was Do or Die for Sugar Ray. Okay, Robinson versus Turpin. Do or Die for Sugar Ray. Okay. Okay, fight of the day. Let's go. The first Robinson versus Turpin battle took place in London, England, just 2 months before the second. And it will forever stand as one of the greatest upsets in the history of fisticuffs. But no one could call it a fluke. Apologists for the man many regard as the best boxer of all time point to Sugar Ray not taking the fight seriously. The fight one of a series in an extravagant European tour for Robinson and his massive entourage. Despite the fact that Ray did engage in 6 fights in just 7 weeks, it had been an excursion, light on serious combat, and more about publicity, prestige, and living the highlight. Now, a genuine crossover star, Robinson traveled through Europe with his own personal hairdresser, a dance instructor, a golf pro, a singing coach, his famous pink Cadillac, and a dwarf nicknamed Arabian Night. The fight against Randolph Turpin was to be the finale of the tour, a title defense at Earl's Court in London against a legit, if little known, contender. The fight went 15 rounds, and at the final bell, to everyone's astonishment, there was no doubt as to who deserved to have their hand raised by the referee. I have no alibis, said Sugar Ray. I was beaten by a better man tonight. Yeah, that was one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. Still is. What Sugar Ray said. I have no alibis. I was beaten by a better man. What else could he say? Mike Mazik in the building. What's up, Mike? Sugar Ray Robinson versus Randy Turpin. 1 and 2. Little part of each other. Mainly the second fight. Do or die for Sugar Ray. So yeah, Sugar Ray said, I have no alibis. I was beaten by a better man tonight. But what else could he say? It wasn't even close. The challenger Turpin, 7 years younger than Ray, was in charge from the outset before Sugar Ray attempted a late rally. But the final 3 rounds were all Turpin. And ringsiders found it impossible to score more than 4 or 5 rounds for the American. 12-rounder. It was hard to find 4 or 5 rounds to get to Sugar Ray. As skilled as Sugar Ray was, he was also accustomed to enjoying certain advantages. Generally taller, longer, and more mobile than his opponents. These attributes, along with his formidable punching power and blazing hand speed, combined to neutralize whatever his adversaries brought to the ring. But naturally strong and sturdy opponents who applied non-stop pressure could trouble him, as demonstrated in his tough battles with Jake LaMotta, and as would be the case in the future against Carmen Basilio and Gene Fullmer. There's a shot of Sugar Ray and Randolph Turpin, the opponent that beat him in that first fight. BBO Sports TV, what's up, BBO? How are you today? Yeah, BBO was here earlier. BBO was here before I was in here, but salute BBO from the Sports Talk Network. Salute. Yeah, there's a shot of Sugar Ray, and Randy Turpin beat him that first fight, okay? Yes, he did. Now, Turpin may not have been in Robinson's league in terms of experience, smarts, and technique, but he was younger, fresher, and exceptionally strong. His muscular frame more than substantial enough to allow him to take Ray's shots and keep driving forward. Constant pressure and excellent stamina allowed the Briton to outwork Robinson and bring the world middleweight title back to Albion's shores. And considering how the fight was meant to be, the climax of Robinson's European tour, the impact on Sugar Ray's reputation was nothing short of devastating. Then again, Ray was now 30 years old and a veteran of 132 pro fights. Maybe the glory days were finally over for the great Sugar Man. Maybe it was time for Ray to say goodbye. And there's a good shot of Turpin right there. Randolph Turpin from Great Britain. We're doing boxing in Britain today. Salute Bruce Gas, Boxing, Jazz, and more. It's also appropriate to have a Great Britain fighter in the fight of the day. Salute Bruce Gas in the building. Yeah, there's a nice shot of Randolph Turpin right there. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so Turpin won the first fight. And everybody was saying, well, maybe it's time for Sugar Ray to say goodbye. But before that could happen, there was the rematch. With everything Robinson had built up over the last 2 decades at stake, including the star power he had put on display during the ill-fated tour, Pink Cadillac and all. Sugar Ray Robinson was more than a boxing champion. He was a legit mainstream attraction, a celebrity, a most rare talent, and something close to a living legend for the millions of Black Americans that suffered the indignities of being second-class citizens in their own country. But another defeat to a contender few had previously heard of would put an end to all that. In short, no fight up to this point was more critical to Sugar Ray's image and reputation than this rematch with Turpin. And it was only 2 months after the first one, but they did come back to the first one was in London. Okay. The first fight was in London. Wow. Bear with me for a minute, please. Why this keeps doing this, man? Bear with me. I'm gonna get through this fight of the day. Having trouble changing the displays. There we go. Yeah, there we go. Okay, let's continue. Okay, so yeah, this fight was going to be crucial for Sugar Ray. And he was cut in round 10. Okay, Arnie Boxing in the building. What's up, Arnie Boxing? Fight of the day, Sugar Ray Robinson, Randolph Turpin, boxing in Great Britain. Randolph Turpin was a Great Britain fighter, and he scored one of the biggest upsets in boxing history. He just beat Sugar Ray in the first fight, so now they're having a rematch 2 months later. Everything was on the line for Sugar Ray in this rematch. Okay, we salute Arnie Boxing. Sports fans well understood the gravity of Robinson versus Turpin Part 2. And a huge crowd of over 60,000 set a new record for a non-heavyweight gate at the Polo Grounds in New York City, with a gallery of glittering celebrities at ringside. What they all saw for 9 fast-paced rounds was a grueling, tightly contested battle. Robinson was more assertive than in the first meeting, bringing his power to bear from the outset, with 2-fisted flurries to Turpin's body. He hurt the Englishman with right hands in both the second and third rounds, and in the fourth, he scored with some vicious uppercuts. But in the middle rounds, Ray began to slow down, his big shots now missing the target, while Turpin muscled him around in the many clinches. Yep, Sugar Ray was starting to slow down just like in the first fight. In the middle round, and Turpin was starting to muscle him around. This fight was crucial. By round 9, it was clear the momentum had shifted. A tiring Sugar Ray was again struggling with Turpin's greater strength and seemingly boundless stamina as the contest devolved into a messy affair with plenty of wrestling and rough stuff. There was no doubt Ray was ahead on points, but there was also no question that Turpin was the stronger and fresher fighter at that point. Robinson's fans grew increasingly concerned as Turpin appeared to be closing the distance and making it his kind of fight. In London, in the first fight, Sugar Ray had suffered a bad cut over his left eye. And now in round 10 of the second fight, the wound was reopened, possibly from a clash of heads. And if things weren't already going south for Sugar Ray, suddenly the American's face was bathed in blood. Sugar Ray didn't hesitate, showing more energy than he had for several rounds. He opened up with his big guns, gambling on his power. An overhand right thudded home on Turpin's jaw, and the Briton's legs buckled. Hurt, the champion alternately retreated and hung on as a desperate Robinson pursued and worked to find punching room. The referee separated the fighters, and the Briton, seeking a clinch again, came straight at Sugar Ray, wide open, as if to embrace an old friend, and the Sugar Man didn't need to be asked twice. He blasted Turpin with a huge right hand that put the champion flat on his back. Turpin beat the count, but Robinson knew he couldn't let him off the hook this time. As Ray himself would put it afterwards, it was do or die at that point. Determined to decide matters before the cut and the ringside doctor did, Robinson stalked Turpin, forced him to the ropes, and then unleashed a fearsome barrage of power punches. The dazed champion had no reply. His legs were gone, and he was trapped. He tried to bob and weave, and slipped the bombs, exploding all around him. But Sugar Ray's attack was relentless. Robinson, his face covered in gleaming gore, held nothing back. And after 5 clean blows landed in quick succession, referee Ruby Goldstein, with 8 seconds left in the round, stepped in to halt the one-sided battery. 8 seconds. Yep. Yeah, 8 seconds left in the round. Ruby Goldstein stepped in. There he is. Halted the one-sided battery. It was very one-sided at that point, too. Ray Patterson in the building, straight out of New Jersey. What's up, RP? Finishing up the fight of the day, Sugar Ray Robinson versus Randy Turpin. The referee just stopped the fight. There he is, pulling Sugar Ray away. Turpin protested the referee's decision. I was rolling with the punches, and my head was clearing, he declared. There were only seconds remaining in the round. I didn't want to go down because I knew they would end it. But what Turpin neglected to note was that he had failed to defend himself as Robinson teed off. By staying on the ropes and taking shots, he had left referee Goldstein with little choice but to stop the fight. Simply put, Turpin had blown it. The middleweight crown went back to Sugar Ray and America, and there would be no Robinson versus Turpin Part 3. Meanwhile, in the nick of time, the great Sugar Ray Robinson had not only regained the world title, but he had saved his career in one of boxing's most famous and dramatic stoppages. Clearly, the Sugar Man wasn't quite ready to say goodbye. And there you have it, the fight of the day. Sugar Ray Robinson, Randolph Turpin. Great fight. Okay, boxing in Great Britain today. Ian Turpin was from Great Britain. Yes, so that's why he was in the fight of today. So let's get started with boxing in Great Britain. We got a few things. Excuse me for one moment, please. I want to charge it. Got a few things. Okay, yeah. Okay, now we're gonna look at some. We're gonna do a little talk about boxing in Great Britain first. A little history first. Yeah. Oh, God damn. Man. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. I gotta hurry up and invent those steel-toed bedroom slippers, man. Every time I go past that chair, I tear my toe up. Okay, we're gonna little history first, brief, little 10, 15-minute history about Great Britain. To kick things off, boxing around the world again. We haven't did it in a few weeks. Remember, we was doing it on Thursday after boxing in the States. We have another boxing around the world session today, boxing in Great Britain. Okay, let's talk about Great Britain a little bit. Now, boxing's modern era is rooted in Great Britain. where it evolved from unorganized bare knuckles fighting into a structured, globally recognized sport. English pugilists and rule makers established the framework for the sport, which then spread around the world, right? Yeah, the fighters and the rule makers over there established the framework, and that's when it started spreading around the world. Now let's talk about the bare knuckle origins of the sport, 17th to the 19th century. 17th to the 19th century. Early fights. Now, the first recorded bare knuckle fight in England took place in 1681. Early fights were often brutal, fought without gloves, without weight divisions, or a formal point system. Fights would only end when one boxer could no longer continue. Sometimes they lasted for hours. We talked about the one last week that started on like 9 o'clock Thursday night and ended like 4 o'clock Friday morning, right? When 110 rounds, they had to change referees and everything. So James Figg was the first champion. James Figg, who reigned from 1719 to 1730, is recognized as the first English champion. He opened the first boxing academy in London and helped train boxing. He helped transition boxing from a street brawl to a legitimate spectator sport, James Figg. And then we had the Broughton's rules came into effect. Broughton's rules. In 1743, fighter Jack Broughton introduced the first set of rules to increase safety and fair play in boxing. Broughton's rules prohibited hitting a fighter opponent when they were down and set a 30-second count for a fighter to continue after being knocked down. Okay, so eventually it got down to the 10 count, but you had 30 seconds then, so wow, it's probably hard to get a knockout. 30 seconds to recover, wow. You could take a nap and everything before you got up. 30 seconds, 30 count, wow. So then we had, after the Broughton's rules, came the London prize ring rules, made it a little bit more better. Gradually, they kept making rules, getting a little better and better. London prize ring rules came next. In 1838, these rules replaced Broughton's rules, okay? And these rules outlined a more sophisticated framework for the sport. Revisions were made in 1853, but bare knuckles fighting was outlawed by the 1880s, following the legal case, R versus Coney. So by the 1880s, bare knuckles fighting was outlawed, right? So then the rise of modern boxing started, 19th century, okay? The rise of modern boxing. 19th century, rise of modern boxing. Okay, so now we got some more rules to make it a little bit more better again. The Marquis of Queensberry rules. Standardized by John Graham Chambers in 1867 and endorsed by the Marquis of Queensberry. These rules were the blueprint for modern boxing. The key innovations of these rules, included for the Queensberry rules. Mandatory use of padded boxing gloves, okay? The establishment of 3-minute rounds, followed by a 1-minute rest period. The introduction of the 10 count, okay? So it went from 30 down to 10. Because 30 was really, that's ridiculous. How you gonna knock somebody out? They got 30 seconds to recover. Like they said, and they take a nap and everything, 30 count. So the Queensberry rules brought it down to the 10 count, okay? And the prohibition of wrestling and grappling techniques. Now, the first three-division champion in boxing was Cornish-born boxer Bob Fitzsimmons, was the first ever three-division world champion, winning titles in the middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight divisions between 1891 and 1903. He is also considered one of history's hardest punchers. Yeah, he was the first to go for middleweight, win a championship at middleweight and heavyweight. Then Roy Jones did it 103 years later in like 2003, I believe. I think it's 1993, 106 years later after Bob Fitzsimmons, okay? Now, from backroom to mainstream, the Marquis of Queensberry rules helped legitimize the sport, attracting the aristocracy, okay, and increasing public interest in the sport. The boxing evolved into a skilled, competitive competition rather than a brutal brawl, moving it into the mainstream. Now, the post-war golden age and the decline started in the 20th and 21st centuries. Champions and popularity. The 20th century saw the rise of more British champions and the expansion of the professional sport. British won world heavyweight was in the 19th century. Lennox was the first one in the 20th century. Promoters like Eddie Hearn have far in recent years in Great Britain, making it a dominant force in world boxing. Then we had the erosion of the fan base, right? In the 21st century, boxing's popularity in Britain has been challenged by several factors. Cost. Number one, cost. Fans are less willing to pay for expensive pay-per-view events for unfamiliar fighters when other sports are available for less money. Competition. Martial arts, MMA, has drawn some interest away from boxing. Like we said the other day, we talked about the last 30 years, especially among the younger demographic, okay? Grassroots struggles. Smaller boxing gyms face an uncertain future, which affects the development of new talent. A major crisis. In recent years, some experts have warned of a major crisis in British boxing. A damning statistic exists from September 2025, last month, noted that Britain only has currently two world champions, Nick Ball, the WBA featherweight champion, and Lewis Crocker, the IBF welterweight champion. He just got that last month, Lewis Crocker. That's a sharp decline from just 10 years ago, around 2015, when they had over 10 world champions, okay? That's a sharp decline. And part of the concern is that top fights are moving to venues in Saudi Arabia, which hurts the quality of fight cards held in the United Kingdom. So now let's look at some of the most notable events in British boxing history. Yeah, that's Sugar Ray and Randy Turkman again. That was a notable event. Some of the most notable events in British boxing history now. Okay. I'm gonna move this laptop closer. There we go. I'm making too much noise. I gotta get me some headphones because this I would cut down on picking up every sound. I go out the door, it sounds like a bomb going off or something. When I listen to the playback. But yeah, most notable events in British boxing history. Now we got a few things we're gonna cover today. Ranking the big moments in British boxing history. Okay? Ranking the biggest moments in British boxing history. Got 10 of them. We're going to look at some of the top boxers come out of there very briefly. And we're going to look at a couple of them closely. Like two of the top fighters in British history, Bob Fitzsimmons and Jimmy Wall. We're going to take a close look at them. And then we're going to look at some of the current fighters over there. Okay? Some of the current Great Britain stars. Later. But first, some of the most notable events. I need a secretary. She's gonna have to work pro bono though. It's like not get paid. I'll feed her. Miss Cass can cook. So yeah, that'll be the pay. Okay. Yeah, okay, let's get into some of these most notable events in British boxing history now. Ted Lewis fights Georges Carpenter for the light heavyweight title. Ted Kid Lewis. Ted Kid Lewis is arguably the greatest British boxer of all time. His 20-fight series with Jack Britton was one of boxing's greatest rivalries in the early part of the 20th century. Yeah, 20 fights between them. More often than not, the world welterweight title was at stake. Yeah, they fought each other 20 times. Sam Langford and Harry Wills is on record for fighting 18 times. They say they actually fought 22 times. In May 1922, Lewis was back in London at the Olympia to face the popular Frenchman, Georges Carpenter, for the light heavyweight belt. Okay? Carpenter had challenged heavyweight champion Jack Dempsey in one of the biggest fights of all time the previous year, 1921, first $1 million gate. Now, Lewis is considered an all-time great, as it is, but a win over Carpenter, in this case, would have raised his historical legacy to another level. In the fight, Lewis got off to a quick start before getting knocked out by a single shot thrown on the break in the first round. The sudden ending caused a near riot and is perhaps the most controversial knockout in British boxing history. Okay, look at some of the biggest moments in British boxing history. Prince Naseem Hamed captures the WBO featherweight belt from Steve Robinson. Prince Naseem Hamed is one of the biggest boxing stars of the 1990s, both in England and North America. His flashy and explosive style made some fans despise him and made others love him. Either way, that flashy style sold tickets and won fights. In 1995, Hamed captured his first world title, the WBO featherweight belt, when he traveled to Cardiff, Wales, to face champion Steve Robinson. Robinson's fellow Welshmen packed the rugby stadium to watch the cocky Hamed get beat. Yeah. That style sold tickets. You know, some people came to see him win, some people came to see him lose, you know? But instead of losing, Hamed put on a show. Fighting in the pouring rain, he dominated the fight and dropped Robinson with a brilliant hook in round 8 that prompted the referee to stop the fight. Now, the WBO was still a very new ranking organization in 1995, and Hamed was among the champions who clearly established the WBO as a major player in the world on the world title scene. Yeah, Hamed having that title really gave him some clout. The emerging king, Lennox Lewis, stops Frank Bruno. These are just some of the biggest moments in British boxing history. Frank Bruno was one of the top heavyweights of the late 1980s in the early 1990s. Now, although he had lost twice before in world title challenges to Tim Witherspoon and Mike Tyson, in 1993, he appeared well positioned to make the third time the charm against Lennox Lewis. Lewis had won gold in the 1988 Olympics representing Canada, but as a pro, he had returned home to London, the city of his birth, okay? In May 1993, he had captured the vacant WBC title by beating Tony Tucker. In October, he was set to face Bruno in his first defense. In the pre-fight promotion, Bruno loudly declared himself as the true Brit. Bruno used his very good jab to make the fight competitive in the early rounds and even take a lead on one scorecard. But Lewis was clearly a dominant champion on the rise. He won by TKO in round 7 and was on his way to becoming a British superstar. Lennox the Lion. Ricky Hatton TKO's Kostya Tszyu. Ricky Hatton has been among the largest boxing stars of this century. The two-division world champion had a natural following among his fellow Manchester residents that eventually spread across Great Britain and throughout much of the rest of the world. Yeah, they followed Ricky around the globe when he fought. No fight did more to solidify his status than his June 2004 round 11 TKO of IBF junior welterweight champion Kostya Tszyu. Fighting in front of a raucous crowd at the Manchester Evening News Arena, Hatton got off to a quick and aggressive start. The fight was hotly contested, with both men pushing the boundary of legal tactics and taking heavy punishment. But once Tszyu could no longer continue, following round 11, mutual respect and sportsmanship quickly took over. Yeah, we're going to talk about a famous venue too. Called the Ring Pub. One of the old. I think it opened in 1910. One of the oldest venues over there. Later in the show too. Now some of the biggest moments in British boxing history. The first international championship fight: Tom Cribb versus Tom Molyneux. By 1810, the professional prize fighting tradition in Great Britain was well established and over a half century old. In December of that year, with no recognized reigning world champion, a fight was organized between the British champion Tom Cribb and a former American slave, Tom Molyneux, a protege of the legendary Bill Richmond. Now, according to Ned Fleischer's The Heavyweight Championship, this book, he was found in Ring magazine. According to this book he wrote, this was the first international championship fight for the heavyweight title, and the first championship fight between a black man and a white man. Cribb captured the title after 35 bruising rounds. A rematch was fought the next year in front of a crowd of 25,000, which was enormous for 1810. Cribb won the rematch too. James Figg opens his boxing boots in 1730. The history of boxing stretches back to ancient times and the first Olympic Games, but the modern version of the sport can largely trace its roots to a single figure, James Figg. Figg was the great boxing champion and coach of his era, though the sport in his time more closely resembled hand-to-hand combat on a battlefield than the sport we know today. Indeed, clubs were sometimes used, clubs were sometimes used. Yeah, that would have been the era. If I would have been a boxer, that would have been my era. You could use clubs and stuff. I wonder if you could use baseball bats. But anyway, Figg ascended to the heavyweight championship in 1719. His great innovation for the sport was the establishment of regular professional boxing cards. Prior to Figg, pugilists had earned their living as common laborers of some sort, or perhaps through sponsorship of the gentry, or through coaching the nobility in the finer arts of hand-to-hand combat. But once Figg's dominance of the sport was established, he founded Figg's Great Tile Booth on the Bowling Greens in London, where boxing exhibitions were held for the paying public. In his book, Fleischer identifies a printed handbill advertising an exhibition at Figg's establishment in 1730 as the first advertisement of boxing as a public event. Broughton's Rules, adopted in 1743. Yeah, we went over that just now. Yeah, John Broughton followed Figg as world heavyweight champion, and is arguably the greatest figure in the history of the sport. Conscious of the need to litigate at least some of the nascent sport's unrestrained brutality, Broughton established a code of conduct, Broughton's Rules, that held sway over the sport between 1743 and the widespread adoption of the London Prize Ring Rules in 1838. Broughton's Rules established a designated space for fights to take place and outlawed any but the fighters, a chief second, and 2 umpires from entering that space. The rules established fall by a throw or blow as a pause in the action, at which time both fighters were required to return to their neutral corner. If a fallen fighter could not make it back to his neutral corner by a count of 30 seconds, he lost. Broughton's set of rules also outlawed blows or grappling below the waist, moving the sport further from free-for-all fighting and closer to the sport of today. Fights were still waged until one man could no longer continue, and hence the sport remained extremely brutal. But it was a move toward modern principles of sportsmanship and fair play. Broughton also introduced the innovation of mufflers or boxing gloves to be worn during sparring. Fleischer refers to Broughton as the father of the English school of pugilism. John Broughton. Next, Henry Cooper nearly knocks out a young Muhammad Ali. Henry Cooper nearly knocks out a young Muhammad Ali. Crush the legend in the building. What's up, Crush? From the Sports Talk Network. Fire Podcast. Crush the legend. Salute, Crush. Yeah, we're talking boxing in Great Britain today, and we are looking at some of the most notable moments in Britain boxing history. And yeah, Henry Cooper almost knocks out a young, Cassius Clay. It's Cassius Clay then. Muhammad Ali was still going by the name of Cassius Clay and was not yet the heavyweight champion of the world when he went to England to face Henry Cooper in June of 1963. But the 1960 Olympic gold medalist was very much a star on the rise. Cooper was among the most beloved fighters in the history of Britain prize fighting. His left hook, known as Henry's hammer, was an extremely dangerous punch. In round 4 of his bout with Clay, he caught the future champion with it flush and nearly altered the course of boxing history. In the film, it's clear that Ali was badly hurt as he stumbled back to his corner. Ali's trainer and manager, Angelo Dundee, was accused of deliberately cutting Ali's glove between rounds to buy a few more precious seconds to recover. Yeah, and they sent back to the back for another glove. They say Angelo did that on purpose because Ali was hurt bad. So he gave him a few more seconds to recover. And of course, Ali did recover. In the very next round, he pummeled Cooper, stopping him on cuts. In his next fight in February 1964, Ali defeated Sonny Liston for the heavyweight crown. Yeah, Cooper almost altered history because that was a fight right before this first Sonny Liston fight. And then Randy Turpin shocked Sugar Ray Robinson to win the middleweight title. We talked about that for the fight of the day, remember? Yeah, Henry Cooper. Mhm. Look at it real quick. Everybody wasn't in here. The Leamington Liquor, Randy Turpin, would eventually end his life in tragedy, committing suicide while still in his 30s. But for a period of time in 1951, Turpin was the toast of the boxing world and a national hero after winning the world middleweight title by defeating all-time pound-for-pound king Sugar Ray Robinson in July 1951. Robinson, at this point in his career, was the biggest star in the sport and still very close to his physical prime. He hadn't lost in over 90 fights and had only lost once in over 130 fights during his entire career. Turpin was a respectable contender, but when he beat the legend, it was among the biggest upsets of all time and pushed British fans into a celebratory frenzy. Now, Turpin would drop the rematch by round 10 TKO just 2 months later. Still, the win over Sugar Ray places him in elite company for all time. And then, finally, Jim Mace becomes the first Marquis of Queensberry Rules world champion. After they started the Queensberry Rules, Jim Mace was the first world champion. Ned Fleischer, the founder of Ring Magazine, now he describes Jim Mace as a fiddle player who took up boxing. After pub patrons were extremely impressed by the thrashing Mace administered to a ruffian who busted his violin. He would go on to become the most popular boxer of the 18th century, prior to John L. Sullivan, serving as a vital figure in the emergence of modern boxing, Jim Mace. Mace was a technician who dazzled crowds by handling larger opponents. They didn't have no weight classes and stuff then, right? Everybody fought everybody, no weight classes, okay? And he dazzled crowds by handling larger opponents. He held the British middleweight and heavyweight championships before becoming the undisputed world heavyweight champion. And see, that was bare knuckles, too. As a fighter who relied on skill, Mace was drawn to the emerging Marquis of Queensberry Rules, which instituted the use of gloves and completely outlawed grappling, throwing, and kicking. These rules also established 3-minute rounds with 1-minute breaks in between, an innovation which made scoring a fight for technical prowess much easier. Essentially, these are the rules the sport follows internationally to this day. It could be argued that Mace's reign was not just the most important event in British boxing history, but in boxing history as a whole. Okay? So those were some of the most notable moments in British boxing history. So now let's look at some of the top British boxers ever. Okay? Just a little brief, I promise. I'm not gonna bore y'all. Okay? Little brief discussions on each of these boxers. Okay? I think Amir Khan is first. It is, Amir. Yeah, Crush, I've been missing you. What time? I saw one day you was on at your old time, 6:30. Yeah, I can't not catch up with my nephew anymore. Okay, yeah, but the salute, Crush. Yeah, we're gonna talk about some British boxers now, and later we're gonna talk about some of the current British stars. You know, some of the guys that's currently, you know, who's going to be their next world champion, because they only got 2 world champions. British boxing has really dropped too. Now, American boxing has covered its bed for heavyweight, but we got plenty of other champions. Great Britain only has 2 champions right now. Nick Ball at 126, and the other guy, Lewis, somebody, he just got the title last month, one of the ones that Boots dropped, the IBF. Lewis, I just said his name. He just got the IBF last month. So they only got 10 champions. They had like 12, 15, like in 2015, just 10 years ago. So yeah, boxing has really taken a nosedive over there too. Yeah, Lewis Crocker. Nick Ball and Lewis Crocker are the only 2 world champions Great Britain has right now. Well, they got minor, like I'm talking about WBA, WBC, IBF, and WBO. I ain't talking about no European Continental, none of that nonsense. Well, that's not nonsense, but I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the big four, right? They only got two. Yep. Okay. Yeah, we're going to talk about some of these British boxers now. Very brief little talk. Okay. On them. Amir Khan is first. 20 memorable British boxers. Okay. Amir Khan is Amir. At age 17, Amir Khan captured silver at the Athens Olympics to become the youngest ever boxer from the UK to win a medal. Now, as a pro, he unified the titles in the 140-pound division, running his record to 26-1 with 18 knockouts before losses to Lamont Peterson and Danny Garcia. A little brief, that's all. The Hitman is next. Ricky the Hitman Hatton. Yeah, Ricky the Hitman Hatton is next. The Hatton really did, wow. Hatman and put a lick on somebody. I don't even know who that is, but wow. The sweat coming off of him. But the Hitman, one of the most popular British fighters of all time, Hatton held titles at junior welterweight and welterweight and ran his record to 45 wins, 2 losses with 32 knockouts. His lone defeats came at the hands of Floyd Mayweather and Manny Pacquiao. That ain't too shabby. Only 2 losses in his 47 fights. One to Floyd, one to Manny. That's it. That's like Joe Frazier only lost to George Foreman and Muhammad Ali each 2 times. Ricky Hatton only lost to Floyd and Manny. That's it. Nobody else beat the Hitman. Joe Calzaghe, Mr. 46-0. Joe Calzaghe. The Pride of Wales, who spent 11 years defending his super middleweight titles before moving up to light heavyweight to defeat Bernard Hopkins and Roy Jones, walked away unbeaten with a mark of 46 wins, no losses, 32 knockouts. Joe Calzaghe. Lennox Lewis. We just looking at some British boxers briefly. Boxing in Britain today. Go back on our trip around the world this week. Okay? Lennox Lewis. The finest heavyweight of his generation, Lewis defeated Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, and Vitaly Klitschko before exiting the sport as undisputed champion in 2003. Or was it 2005? 2003 or 5. He retired with a record of 41 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, and 32 knockouts, having avenged both losses in convincing fashion. Yeah, Oliver McCall and Rockland beat him, but he got his get back in convincing fashion, both of them. Prince Nassim Hamed. Here he is riding to the ring on something. That ain't the flying carpet. I don't know what that is. But yeah, he's on his way to the ring. The Prince. Known as much for his outrageous ring entrances as his abilities in the squared circle, Hamed reinvigorated British boxing and made 15 defenses of the featherweight title before running into a prime Marcos Antonio Barrera in 2001. Shortly after that beatdown, he retired with a record of 36 wins, 1 loss, with 31 knockouts. He retired right after. He had one more fight after Barrera beat him, and then he got out of there. You know, he wasn't gonna never be the same after that. Yeah, Barrera, that was bad. Chris Eubank. Okay, let me try. Every time I try to scroll up, something happens. Oh, it worked. Okay. It was me. Chris Eubank. Senior, right? Senior. That's him on the right. Senior. I don't have no actives in this list here. We're going to talk about some active British boxers in a little while. Okay? Chris Eubank. One of boxing's snappiest dressers. Eubank held titles at middleweight, where he was undefeated, never lost at middleweight, and super middleweight before retiring with a record of 45 wins, 5 losses, 2 draws, 23 by the knockout route. Yeah, that's Chris on the right, Chris Eubank. Nigel Benn. Chris Eubank got to hear Nigel Benn, right? Nigel Benn. I think the Sun's getting ready to fight again too, right? Coming up soon. Is it this month or is it? I know it's soon. Yeah. Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn. Now the Dark Destroyer, Nigel Benn, knocked out his first 22 opponents before losing to Michael Watson in 1989. He'd go on to win titles at middleweight and super middleweight, retiring with a record of 42 wins, 5 losses, 1 draw, 35 knockouts. The Dark Destroyer, Nigel Benn. Lloyd Honeyghan. Lloyd Honeyghan. Lloyd Honeyghan. There he is. The Jamaican-born Honeyghan scored one of British boxing's greatest upsets when he stopped Donald Curry for the world welterweight title in 1986. He defended it 3 times, lost it to Jorge Baca, then won it back in the rematch. Yeah, in 86, that was a huge upset because Donald Curry was thought to be the heir apparent to Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hearns at welterweight. And when Honeyghan stopped him in 86, that was a huge upset at that time, man. Yeah, Bruce Gas, Crush, Mike Grimm, they probably older. Well, I'm not calling y'all old. Guys that were watching boxing around the 80s probably remember. That was huge. When Honeyghan beat Donald Curry in 86, yeah. Because Donald Curry was thought to be like that, you know. Yeah. They was talking about him just stepping right in behind the 4 kings and taking over welterweight. But Honeyghan beat him. That was a huge upset at that time, 1986, yeah. Barry McGuigan. Barry McGuigan. Okay. Now, the Clone Cyclone was a relentless pressure fighter who won the featherweight title from longtime champion Eusebio Pedraza in 1985. He remained hugely popular until retiring at 32 wins, 3 losses with 28 stoppages. Great knockout rate, but I'm not doing that today. Y'all notice I have had some great knockout rates, but I ain't figuring them. Not yet. Ken Buchanan. Ken Buchanan. Buchanan defeated Ismael Laguna for the lightweight title in 1970 before losing it to the hands of Stone Roberto Duran 2 years later at Madison Square Garden. He also scored victories over Carlos Hernandez, Carlos Ortiz, and Jim Watt before retiring with a record of 61 wins, 8 losses with 27 knockouts. That was old Carlos Ortiz that he beat. That wasn't prime. That wasn't the Carlos Ortiz. Prime Carlos Ortiz would have washed him. Okay. John Conte. Taking nothing away from Ken Bryan, but Ken Buchanan, but prime Carlos Ortiz just would have. He caught him. Oh, he was on the way out there. John Conte. That's my top Puerto Rican boxer of all time, Carlos Ortiz. John Conte. Okay. That's John on the left there. The Liverpoolian outpointed Jorge Alhamuda for the WBC light heavyweight title in 1974 before defending it 3 times. Stripped up the title due to a hand injury, he came up short in 3 subsequent attempts to regain it. Had 3 shots to get his title back, but failed on all 3. And you know, you gotta mention Henry Cooper, probably the most popular. I'm not saying Henry was the best, but there is Ali on the mat. Yeah, we talked about that. I ain't saying he's the best British boxer, but he was definitely the most popular in his era. Yeah, Henry Cooper. for sure. Yeah, that's the one we was talking about when they put Ali on the map. Ali was in there running his mouth playing and her recording. Enormously popular in Great Britain, right up until his death in May of 2011, Cooper was renowned for his vicious left hook known as Henry's Hammer and his knockdown of Cassius Clay in the first of their two fights. Yeah, that was the fight before the Sonny Liston fight. Just think if Clay wouldn't have got up, that would have definitely changed history. Wow, we wouldn't have had Clay, Sonny Liston, none of that. I guess it would have been Henry Cooper and Sonny Liston. No, because Henry Cooper said he wasn't fighting Sonny Liston. Henry straight up said it. I don't even want to see Sonny walking down the street. I'm definitely not getting in no boxing ring with him. Howard Winstone. Despite losing the tips of 3 fingers in an accident as a teenager, the Welsh featherweight captured the World Featherweight Championship with a victory over Japan's Mitsunori Seiki in 1968. What did I say? Sucky. S-C-K-I. Saki. Okay. Randy Turpin again, the great boxer that beat Sugar Ray. Great British boxer. There's Randy. One of the most exciting British fighters in history. They called him the Lean Liquor. And he became a national hero after that 1951 win over Sugar Ray. Tommy Farr on the left, throwing the punch. Now, Tommy Farr never won a world title, but he pushed Joe Louis to the limit when they met at Yankee Stadium in 1937. Louis escaped with a narrow punch decision over the Tony Pandy Terror, with the crowd of 50,000 booing lustily when the referee seemingly raised Farr's glove by mistake as the verdict was announced. It's the same thing he did with Florida in the Olympics. The referee raised, who would know better who won but the referee, and he raised Farr's hand. It's like, remember in the Olympics, the referee raised Floyd's hand, but the judges gave it to the other fighter. The referee raised Farr's hand, but the judges gave it to Joe Louis. But all Joe Louis had to do was come close. He was going to get the decision. Back then, Joe Louis was the money maker for all of them. So yeah, he had to beat him convincingly to get a decision over Joe Louis. Back around that time, 1937. Yeah, he just became champion in 37. Freddie Mills, winding down. Freddie Mills. That's an old picture there. The light heavyweight champion from 1948 to 1950. That's him on the left. Mills retired as one of the most beloved figures in British sport. He walked away with a record of 77 wins, 8 losses, 6 draws, and 48 knockouts. Ted Kid Lewis, possibly the greatest British boxer of all time, Ted Kid Lewis. He's up there. Ranked by a longtime Ring magazine editor, Annette Fleischer, as the 4th best welterweight of all time. Lewis had his first fight at age 14 and was a champion by the time he was 18. He waged one of the all-time great rivalries with Jack Britton. They fought 20 times and traded titles several times. Jimmy Wald, ghost with a hammer in his hand, started fighting at 98 pounds, Jimmy Wald. Considered by many the greatest flyweight of all time, the mighty Atom had a punch that belied his frail frame. He retired with a record of 137 wins, 4 losses, 2 draws in the 100 knockout club, 100 knockouts, right? Never fought over 112. Never was 112, but he fought at flyweight. He started out at 98 pounds, but it didn't go no lower than flyweight then. It was a 98-pound flyweight. And on the Ring magazine list of 100 greatest punchers, pound for pound, Jimmy Wall is top 10. Okay, top 10. Mike said, keep it PG. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't help it. I thought it was, I read the man's name wrong. I ain't gonna say it again. Freddie Welch. It's got a couple more. Freddie Welch. The Welch Wizard won the World Lightweight Championship and was stopped just once in more than 160 fights. And he was stopped by the legendary Benny Leonard. And Bob Fitzsimmons. We're gonna talk about Bob a little bit more in a moment too. Bob Fitzsimmons, the first 3-division champion in boxing history. Fitzsimmons captured belts at middleweight, light heavyweight, and heavyweight. Though he stopped Peter Marr in an 1896 fight, it was billed as a world heavyweight title fight. Ruby Robert didn't win the recognized lineal title until knocking out James J. Corbett in 14 rounds the following year. Okay, so let's talk. We're going to talk about Jimmy Wall and Bob Fitzsimmons a little bit more deeply, because they like two of the top British fighters. My top two, Bob Fitzsimmons, for British fighters, Bob Fitzsimmons and Jimmy Wall, and they go way back there. Bob Fitzsimmons, I think his career ended in 1903. Jimmy Wall was like 1910, somewhere around in there. Okay, yeah, Bob Fitzsimmons. We're going to talk about Bob Fitzsimmons now. Okay. Briefly, let's see, Bob Fitzsimmons. Okay. Let's scroll up. There we go. Yeah, it was me. That's why I wasn't scrolling. I was doing something. There's a better shot of Bob Fitzsimmons right there. Mm-hmm. We have time. We're going to talk about this venue too, called the Ring Pub. Had some great fights in it. Opened in 1910. Opened by a man and a wife, and then the man died, and he made his wife promise him on his deathbed she was going to keep it open, and she kept it open, and she became the bouncer for the place, and bounced people up out of there too. If you didn't come in there acting crazy, this lady got you up out of there. Bob Fitzsimmons. Because Fitzsimmons retired over 100 years ago, boxing in general seemed to have forgotten just how great he was. The only references of him today is when you're talking about past records, like Roy Jones Jr. is the only natural middleweight after Bob Fitzsimmons held the heavyweight world title, and Lennox Lewis is the first British world heavyweight champion since Bob Fitzsimmons. On all-time pound-for-pound list, Fitzsimmons seems to be low or left out altogether. The main reason appears to be nobody is left that saw his fights, and very few were ever filmed. But when was the last time you saw a Sugar Ray Robinson fight? He's usually number 1 or 2 on all-time pound-for-pound list. Maybe it's that some of his fights were fought bare knuckles, Fitzsimmons. But I think only 3 of his fights were fought bare knuckles. The rest of them was in the glove era. Now, fight fixing was happening in Fitzsimmons' era. So how many of his fights were fixed? 2 were alleged to have been, and they were against the same opponent, Jim Hall. Fitzsimmons and his family immigrated from Cornwall, England, arriving at Lyttelton, New Zealand on October 17, 1873. In 1881, he was taught boxing by Dan Lee, a former champion of Southwest England. He had an impressive career from the beginning, defeating 4 men in 2 days in an amateur Jim Mace tournament to win the lightweight championship of New Zealand. 4 men in 2 days as an amateur. He then went on to win the middleweight championship in New Zealand in the same way, but this time against 5 men. In every sense, Fitzsimmons was a prototype for Jack Dempsey, Sugar Ray Robinson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Mike Tyson, Oscar De La Hoya, Roy Jones Jr., James Toney, and many more. How? Bob Fitzsimmons was the first man ever to win the heavyweight, light heavyweight, and middleweight championships of the world. Sugar Ray Leonard may have popularized winning world titles at different weights, but Fitzsimmons was the first to do it. He was also the first man to be short for a heavyweight fight, but to be the most powerful in the division, paving the way for Dempsey and Mike Tyson. He constantly took on men larger than himself. One evening in 1893, he knocked out 7 men, each one weighing over 200 pounds, the largest being 6'7" and 240 pounds. And he needed just 19 rounds to do it. Fitzsimmons was a physical oddity, however, with Jay Durant in 1976 describing him a physical freak. 6 foot tall, knock-kneed, red-headed middleweight with a wasp waist. Yet, he was built like a heavyweight from the waist up, and he certainly hit like one. Fitzsimmons was one of the hardest hitters in history, and there is no better example of this than once, while giving an exhibition of hitting a heavy bag, he burst the bag because of how hard he hit it. In fights, he put that power to use in a deadly way, winning the vast majority of his fights by knockout. In 1894, Fitzsimmons knocked out Con Reardon. After remaining unconscious at ringside for 2 hours, he was finally removed and died later. When he met Jim Jeffries in the ring, it was Fitzsimmons' power against an iron jaw defense. Jeffries' face was a mess, with his eyes swollen shut and air ripped loose, his nose bleeding and lips bleeding. Fitzsimmons broke his hands on Jeffries' chin. Fitzsimmons was the first superstar of boxing. This was proven in 1893 when he was paid $40,000 to fight Jim Jeffries. He was also the first one to have his fights excessively hyped. In 1897, Fitzsimmons fought James J. Corbett for the World Heavyweight Championship in what was billed as the fight of the century. This was one of the first fights to be filmed, and it was close to a modern-day super fight. Commemorative medals, coins, magazines, pinbacks, and other things were produced in anticipation of the fight. During 1902, he toured the Western United States with Jim Jeffries, taking on all comers, something not usually done today. Okay? In the end, though, Fitzsimmons shared another common trait with his heirs to the ring. He fought on too long, right? That was a trait he shared. He fought too long. Arguably, the beginning of the end for Fitzsimmons when he lost to Jack Johnson. The Associated Press wrote, Jack Johnson stopped Bob Fitzsimmons in the second round of a 6-round fight for the Washington Sporting Club. Fitzsimmons did not show a trace of his former prowess, and it's probable that Johnson could have stopped him in the opening round if he had wanted to. The blow to put Fitzsimmons out was a light right to the jaw. The old man fell to the floor, and as he made no attempt to rise, the referee stopped the fight. The hissing which usually follows knockouts of this character was absent, the spectators evidently taking compassion on a former pugilistic star. Referee Keenan refused to act in the ring because he had heard that Fitzsimmons had a badly sprained arm. The manager of the club then entered the ring and watched the uneven match. In the opening round, Johnson tapped Fitz anywhere he chose to, but the latter was unable to even land his famous counters. From that point on, he fought mainly in exhibitions, then at one point fighting and losing for the Australian Heavyweight Championship. In 1913, the New York Athletic Commission prohibited Fitzsimmons from fighting in New York. His swan song occurred in 1916, fighting young Bob Fitzsimmons in an exhibition fight. There was a young Bob Fitzsimmons too. After his death in 1917, he was remembered for a long time as one of the best boxers of all time. But as time wore on, his name slipped off of many pound-for-pound lists. So remember Bob Fitzsimmons as a great boxer, not a bare-knuckle brawler. Bob Fitzsimmons, okay? And then we're going to take a look at Jimmy Wilder and then some of these current stars of the sport, okay? Jimmy Wilder now. Arguably the best British boxer ever. The Mighty Atom, or the Ghost with a hammer in his hand. That was Jimmy Wilder. Okay, let's see. Here we go. Let's get this. This is short. Jimmy Wilder. It is Jimmy. Right there. Anybody come in? No. Okay, yeah, Jimmy Wilder. Okay, let's see. I used to knock them all out cold. Do you know I knocked out 22 men in one night? They range from 12 to 13 stone. And 1 stone is 14 pounds, so 12 stone is 168. 13 stone is 13 stone is 182. And Jimmy Wilder was like 98 pounds. Okay, not much. He started at 98. He never was much over 100. Then he knocked out men from 160 to 178, 22 in one night. William James Wilder. He was born May 12, 1892. Died March 10, 1969. He was a Welsh professional boxer, competed from 1911 to 1923. He simultaneously held the National Sporting Club British Flyweight title and the World Flyweight Championship from 1916 to 1923. Often regarded as the greatest British fighter of all time, he was the first official World Flyweight champion and was rated by American boxing writer Ned Fleischer, as well as many other professionals and fans, including former boxer, trainer, manager, and promoter Charlie Broadway Rose, as the greatest flyweight boxer ever. Wilder earned various nicknames such as the Mighty Atom, the Ghost with the Hammer in his hand, and the Tylerstown Terror due to its bludgeoning, punching power. While reigning as the world's greatest flyweight, Wilder would take on bantamweights and even featherweights and knock them out. With the longest unbeaten streak in boxing history, he went 103 fights before his first loss, okay? Wilder had a record of 139 wins, just 3 losses, and 1 draw for his career, right? 142 fights, just 3 losses. He won his first 103 out the gate, okay? And he's in the 100 knockout club, 100 knockouts on the dot. Ring Magazine named him both the 3rd greatest puncher of all time and the greatest flyweight of all time, and rated him as the 13th greatest fighter of the 20th century. This little 100-pound man, the 3rd greatest puncher of all time. In 1990, he was elected to the International Boxing Hall of Fame in the inaugural class into the old timers category. He was ranked as the top flyweight of all time by the International Boxing Research Organization in 2006. After the war, Wilder lived in Cadoxton, South Wales. In 1960, Wilder suffered facial injuries after being mugged at a train station in Cardiff, Wales. His wife Elizabeth died in 1967, and 2 years later, Wald, who was suffering from diabetes and dementia, died at Whitechurch Hospital. He was buried alongside his wife in Bury Cemetery. Rest in peace, the ghost with the hammer in his hand. Okay, now let's talk about some British fighters that are currently competing. Okay, the British fighters that are currently competing. Then I got a famous venue over there called the Ring Pub, and we got a fight coming up over there in the O2 Arena Saturday. Joe Parker. Time permitting, we're going to talk about that too. But let's talk about some of these current British boxers now. Who's going to be their next champion? Let's talk about some of the current British stars, because they got some. Okay? Like this guy right here, Moses Itama. Okay, they got him marked for greatness. Moses Itama. Corn and fruit. Golden State Highway. What's up, Golden State Highway? Sorry, I didn't even see you come in. Salute. Like and subscribe, please, Golden State Highway. Monday through Friday, boxing history. Cass Sports, the box historian, bringing you all of that boxing history. Salute, Golden State Highway in the building. I'm closing in on 1,000. I think I need like 19 or something. One time I lost 2 last week. Who took their subscriptions back? Put it in the chat. 2 people took their subscriptions back. Okay, Moses Itama is first. Is it in there? Put it in the chat. Moses Itama. And Moses Itama is currently 13-0 with 11 knockouts. Now, there ain't a lot of fights, but he still got an impressive. We got 84.6. Keep knocking them out at that rate, that'll be up there. Yeah, all good boxers. You're right, Golden State Highway. Yeah, 13-0, 11 knockouts. Okay. Now, Itama has been hailed as a champion in waiting, having left a trail of destruction behind him since turning pro in 2023, right? You cannot fail to have been impressed by the 20-year-old from Chatham in Kent, who moved to England from Slovakia as a child, okay? Now, Itama has boxed as if he has an appointment to keep elsewhere, which has seen him dispose of 8 opponents in the first round. In his last fight in August, Itama overcame what was supposed to be his toughest assignment yet with considerable ease when he blasted out Dylan White inside of 1 round. Remember that? White was stopped in round 6 by Tyson Fury for the WBC World Title in April 2022. And then, what was that, August, right? Well, yeah, Itama got him out of there in 1 round. Will he win a world championship soon? I don't think so. Purely down to the opportunities and the belts all being held by Alexander Usyk. But 6'4" Itama has established himself as a genuine contender. He may have to wait for the belts to become fragmented for one title holder when he will get to fight for a vacant title, but he will become a champion eventually. He's ranked number 1 with the WBA and WBO. So as long as he keeps winning, a world title fight could be realistic for late 2026 after Usyk retires or vacates the titles. However, his next fight in Manchester on December 13th will not be for a world title. Okay, excuse me for a minute. Let me get my tablet. Nice and bright. Okay, yeah. His next fight, December 13th. I don't even know who that's. Anybody know who that's against December 13th, Itama? Yeah. I do, but I forgot. But he fights in December. December 13th. Okay, next is Anthony Yard. He got a big one coming up. Benavidez next month. Yeah, Anthony Yard. What time we working with? 3:30. No way. What? 3:30. That can't be right. We've only been on here like 20 minutes. I thought it was like 2:30. Let me step it up some. We're gonna finish this. And permitting, I'll drop the link. I had to switch up. Tama, Ben. Come on. Stay with me for a moment, please. Shiraz. Who are Britain's next? Okay. Who? This is much better. Who are Britain's next? Oh, come on, man. Who are Britain's next? There we go. All right, yeah, we should be good. Yes. There we go. Okay. Yeah, Yard. We're going to talk about Anthony Yard for a minute now. He got a big fight coming up. That was Itama. There's Yard. Okay. Now, Yard is currently 26 wins, 3 losses, 24 knockouts. Okay, that ain't bad. For your Anthony Yard. Got a serious knockout rate. I know I said I wasn't going to do this. 92.3% for Yard. Wow. Now, he's 33 years old. He hopes it will be the third time will be the charm for him in world title fights when he takes on WBC World Light Heavyweight Champion David Benavidez in Saudi Arabia on November 22nd. The Londoner was stopped by Russian power puncher Artur Beterbiev and Sergey Kovalev in light heavyweight title shots in 2023 and 2019, respectively. But Yard repaired his career after those damaging losses and won a trilogy fight with English rival Lyndon Arthur on points in April to earn this shot against Benavidez. Now, will he win a title soon? Unbeaten Benavidez, 30-0, 24 knockouts, 28 years old, who became the youngest ever world super middleweight champion when he was 20 years old in 2017, will start a strong favorite to retain his title in the first defense. Now, Yard was involved in an attritional fight with Arthur a few months ago, but Benavidez dominated in his unanimous decision win over David Morrell in February. So will Yard win a title soon? No, probably not. I doubt it. But it's boxing, so you know. Chris Eubank Jr. We're just talking about some other British boxers now. Chris Eubank Jr. Okay. Now, if Eubank defeats Conor Benn again in a middleweight grudge match at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in London, okay, November, yeah, I knew that was coming up, November 15th. There's talk of him facing either Canelo Alvarez or Terence Crawford. And, you know, him and Crawford got the same coach, Bomac. And they say if he beats Conor Benn, he's going to get Canelo. He probably will beat Crawford now, yeah. He's going to get Crawford. That's the talk, little talk. Now, after the rematch versus Ben, Eubank may opt to step up to super middleweight, even though he is ranked in the top 5 at middleweight by 3 of the 4 world sanctioning bodies. Big fights to wait in 2026, but will they be for world titles or against big names with no world title on the line? That's the question for Chris Eubank. Will he win a world title soon? Beating the likes of Crawford would take an almighty upset for Eubank Jr., despite his impressive showing versus Bent. At age 36, Eubank is running out of time to win a full world title. If there's an immediate rematch between Crawford and Canelo, the Brighton-based boxer would turn his attention to a middleweight title shot, which would be more winnable. If he can make middleweight comfortably, Eubank is capable of beating any of the champions there. Okay? Dalton Smith. Okay, Dalton Smith. We're just talking about some current British boxers now. Dalton Smith. He's currently 18-0 with 13 knockouts. Oh, I don't even have Eubank's record. I'm sorry. Oh, yes, I do. Just Lord. Forget it. Okay, Dalton Smith is next. Dalton Smith. Dalton is 18-0 with 13 knockouts, 28 years old, from Sheffield, England. He would challenge WBC junior welterweight champion Subriel Matias next. Well, we'll have to travel to New York for his first world title shot early next year. Okay? Smith was a convincing winner over Matthew Germain last time out in April. But Matias will be a huge step up from anyone he has ever faced. Will he win a title soon? Matias from Puerto Rico will have a large following in New York, which makes this a difficult assignment for Smith. If the fight is close, but Matias fails to consistently dominate in a majority decision, he failed to consistently dominate in a majority decision over Fuello in July. Matias did, right? Australian Liam Paro also won a unanimous decision over Matias in Puerto Rico last year, which will offer Smith some encouragement. Smith will have to survive periods on the back foot versus Matias, and then enforce his own authority to pull off the upset. Yeah, it's going to be a tough one for Smith there. Hamza Shiraz. Okay, Hamza Shiraz. Yeah. Yeah, that's him in Belanga. Shiraz rebounded from a disappointing draw with WBC World Middleweight Champion Carlos Adames to launch his super middleweight career in style with a round 5 knockout of Edgar Berlanga in past July. Shiraz is 22-1, 1 draw, 18 knockouts, 26 years old, from London. He's in a good position after only 1 fight at super middleweight and may not have to wait long for his next world title shot. So will he win a title soon? Shiraz's world title hopes hinge on whether undisputed world super middleweight will stay at a division to defend this, if Crawford will stay as a division to defend his belts, or if there's an immediate rematch versus Canelo. Now, while Shiraz waits for his opportunity, he could face the likes of Christian and Billy in a stepping stone to a world title fight. That would be a good one, right? Beating Canelo or Crawford would be a challenge for Shiraz. Don't be surprised if he gets the shot in 2026. Conor Benn. Just looking at some currently active British fighters. Conor Benn. Okay. No world title will be on the line when Ben faces Eubank on November 15th. When once again, Ben will compete well above his optimal fighting weight. Ben pushed Eubank Jr. hard in this intense encounter earlier this year, which was commendable considering he had jumped up 2 weight classes. Now, gaining revenge over Eubank would be the perfect launch pad for a world title, but defeat will leave him further adrift or relying on a champion accepting a voluntary defeat. So, will Conor Ben win a world title soon? Not this year, at least. Ben is only ranked in the top 10 at junior middleweight by one of the 4 world governing bodies, and is better placed at welterweight. He is number 5 with the WBA, number 4 with the WBC at welterweight. Now, so long as he can still make the 147-pound limit before compromising his performance after 2 fights at middleweight, Ben could face WBC champion Mario Barrios or IBF champion Crocker in an all-British encounter in 2026. Yeah, Crocker just won his title last month. Crocker, who won the IBF welterweight earlier in September, is promoted by Matchroom, just like Ben. So that's not a hard fight to make. Josh Kelly. I think we got a couple more. Josh Kelly. Kelly is 17 wins, 1 loss, 1 draw, 9 knockouts, 31 years old. Now, Kelly is on the brink of his first world title fight after being promoted in 2 world governing bodies rankings. Okay? He has been made mandatory challenger for IBF junior middleweight champion Bakhram Murtazaliyev. And promoters are in talks to make that fight happen next. Okay? And Kelly is also first in line to challenge WBO title holder Xander Zayas. He has progressed steadily since stepping up from welterweight after David Ebenezer stopped him in February 2021. So, wow, Josh, you got stopped by David Ebenezer. Murtazaliyev will probably crush him, but they talking about making that fight next. Now, will Josh win a world title soon? Murtazaliyev from Russia, but based in California, destroyed Tim Tszyu in 3 rounds last year, but has not fought since. He's a dangerous puncher, but Kelly is a smart boxer who must try and avoid getting into a slugfest, because he is done if he does that. If the fight is staged at a London venue, it will help Kelly. Sam Noakes, he got a good chance to win a title soon. Because I think he's in a title fight. Sam Noakes, 17-0, 15 knockouts. Not bad at all for Noakes. 17-0, 15 knockouts. 88.2. Now, Sam Noakes has made steady progress from British and European champion to earn his first world title shot against 21-year Ohio native Abdullah Mason in Saudi Arabia on November 22nd. Yep. Noakes from Maidstone in Kent will need to tread carefully against a dangerous puncher like Mason in what could potentially be an explosive encounter for the vacant WBO World Lightweight title. Now, will Noakes win a title soon? Noakes' strength could be decisive if he can last to the later rounds against Mason, but it's going to take an upset to win his first world title against a skillful boxer with power like Abdullah Mason. James Jazza Dickens. This display is mixed up. What's going on here, man? man. I don't know. It won't change. Okay, James Jazza Dickens. The Liverpool-based boxer could be Britain's next world champion without throwing a punch if he is elevated from WBA interim champion to WBA world junior lightweight champion. Lamont Roach Jr., the WBA junior lightweight champion, last boxed up at lightweight and is expected to relinquish his title to step up to junior welterweight. His next fight against Pitbull Cruz. Dickens, 36-5 with 15 knockouts, age 34, finds himself in the best of positions of his career, which at times has been a long way away from a world title contention. He was stopped in world title attempts at featherweight and junior featherweight in 2021 and 2016, respectively. But he upset the odds when he knocked out Russian Albert something. And he won a gold medal at the 2021 Olympic Games. Will he win a world title soon? This depends on Roach's next move, and if he relinquishes his 130-pound belt. No, he might not win one soon, but he might get awarded one, right? Elevated. Jazz is due to fight Hayato Tsutsumi, an unbeaten Japanese prospect in Saudi Arabia on December 27th, and cannot afford to lose, given his promising position. If he loses that fight, there goes the elevation. Goliath Yafai. I think it's the final one. Birmingham boxer, Yafai, 9-0, 7 knockouts, age 32. Was well beaten in his last outing, but the unanimous points defeat the Mexican Francisco Rodriguez, eliminated for the WBC flyweight title, was overturned by the governing body to a no contest after Rodriguez tested positive for a banned substance. Okay? As Rodriguez tested positive, Yafai still holds the WBC interim flyweight title. He impressively won by stoppage over English rival Sonny Edwards nearly a year ago. It means Yafai is the mandatory challenger to Ricardo Sandoval from California, who won the WBC title in July to become a unified world champion. So will Yafai win a world title soon? Yafai is in a good position to land a title shot in the next 12 months, but he faces a tough task versus Sandoval, who traveled to Japan to beat Kenshiro Teraji for the WBC and WBA titles. Yeah, that was a big win there, beating Teraji in Japan. So Yafai will just have to wait to discover Sandoval's plans to see if he faces him next. Yeah. And that's the current boxes we have from Great Britain. Okay, that's today's show was boxing in Great Britain. Everybody enjoyed that. Profile day tomorrow. I don't know who it is yet. We're gonna profile some boxer tomorrow. Next week is going to be the first Friday of the month. So it's going to be an active boxer. And next Friday is going to be the life and career of Slick Shakur Stevens. You know, we do the active boxers every first Friday. So next Friday is going to be Slick Shakur Stevens. But tomorrow will be a former boxer. Might be a group of them like we did last week. Thomas Hill, what's up, Thomas Hill? How are you today? Yeah, I'm working on that, T Hill. That's a lot of work there. Yeah. I'm trying to work that out. I tried it before, but yeah, it's gonna be over a couple of days. It's gonna take a couple of shows to do it. You know what I mean? So we're gonna have to see what happens with that. Okay. But salute, Thomas Hill. How are you today? Yeah, but I'm gonna get to it. We're gonna do it. Probably gonna have to probably be on a Monday. It's a lot, but I'm gonna get it. Yeah, I'm going to get it because I am the box story. All right. There's the link. Chris says Devin Pillowfist Glass Joe Haney. Oh, that's the. That's the same nut that was in here yesterday. Chris. Shaw shot him down yesterday. I didn't even see him come in. And he didn't even subscribe yesterday. Right?
Yeah,
What's up, Tito?
I don't know. Sometimes people get volatile on this space, but I mean, the bottom line is with that fight, there were so many things that looked off about it. One being the performance of Tank. One really being the promotion leading up to it, how he was disinterested and appeared to be disenfranchised with the fight altogether. Didn't even want to be there type mentality. The second thing was the performance and the way he looked in the ring. He didn't look like he was in shape like he was against Martin and all his previous opponents. Secondly, the knee. Now, granted, none of the punches really did any effective damage. One missed, the other one barely grazed the other side, and he grabbed the left eye where the blade clearly hit him in the eye. But he took a knee, and as such, it's left up to the discretion of so many people there to be punishable by a deduction. Then this is the biggest thing. He went and stuck his head outside the ropes to get assistance. That right there is a DQ.
Yeah.
So in the ring, I too believe he won the fight. I thought that he won the fight with certain rounds being swing, but I thought clearly Roach leveled the first round. I thought 2 through 6, even possibly 7 was Tank. 7 was a swing round. 8 was definitely Roach. 9 was Tank, even though that's where the knee took place. 10 was Roach. 11 was Tank, and I think 12 was Roach. But there are some swings in there that could favor certain types of looks. So, man, nobody's saying anything about Tank, his performance, or anything like that as far as losing the fight. I don't believe Tank lost the fight. I think the best that Roach could have hoped for was a draw. Yeah. But he could have been awarded the victory off of a DQ.
That's the only way he could have won it, yeah. And Coach Kenny wiped his face off or something.
That's a disqualification. You can't do that.
No, not doing it right.
Just like Cass, just for the record. You remember in the Canelo fight?
Yeah.
With Bud? Crawford kept getting his gloves wiped and touched. They're not supposed to do that. You know what that could be? That could be a disqualification as well, too.
Easily could have did that.
So like, for people who hate on Tank and for people who hate on Bud, those are reasons where the fight could have been taken a turn for the worse for both of them.
Mm.
Now the thing is that in that building there was a lot of people who paid their money, and there was a lot of quote unquote individuals in there who would not have been happy if that
I
fight would
know.
have been stopped and did go out.
Yeah. As
Cutie,
long as everybody was waiting for that, yeah, that might have had a riot in there, too.
you right about that, and people don't take that into consideration.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's another thing. People blame the ref, and definitely so because he happens to have the tint of us. So having the tint of us, the blame will definitely shift that way. But there was also a commissioner or commissioning body's representative there that could have made the call, and on top of that, the sanctioning body's representative that could have made a call. He said, "Yo, you know what? That should have been DQ, or that should have been a
Yeah.
knockdown." So
That's right.
it's not all on him, and it's not all on them. So the hostility about anything going on with that fight don't really belong to the ref. It don't belong to the fighters. It belongs to the people who's putting on the fight ultimately, because they are responsible for the fight being in play
And they made a judgment call.
for sure. So with that being said, man, I mean, I don't feel that Roach should ever be slighted in this thing. I think some of the movements he's made since then is out of frustration, and maybe they could be governed
That's good.
differently. But I mean, how would you feel when a biggest part of your life could have been even further bigger if certain things would have been quote unquote called?
Yeah.
Now, like I said, with the knockdown, I still believe Tank either wins by one round or it's a draw. But it does factor a difference. And I think they factored it in the score because there were a lot of rounds where there wasn't much action, but Tank did the more effective work.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a lot of rounds where there was action and Roach did some the effective work.
I
But
wasn't
that
mad
being,
with people,
not at all, not at all. It was vindication because you know how it looked. It could have been a loss.
Right.
It could have been a DQ. So
Definitely
that draw,
DQ. Yeah.
definitely a DQ. So with that, man, I mean, the only way we get closure on that fight is the rematch. I believe the rematch
Yeah.
should happen for the DQ because
That's
of the
why
DQ,
Roach
not
was so
because of the knee.
frustrated. That's why Roach was so frustrated, because when you heard draw, he just knew he was going to get a rematch, immediate rematch. Then it didn't happen.
Yeah, but you don't get rematches for draws. That's up to the discretion of the
I know.
champion.
Yeah, but he felt that way. The way he talked after the fight, he said, I'm him.
Yeah. And conventional wisdom leans to the fact that if it was a draw and it was the favorite, then the favorite lost. I don't believe that. I believe that if you go back and look at the fight, you really look at the fight. How you doing there, sir? You look at the fight with objective eye, not with hate in your fault, or with an expected judgment. You'll see that it really was a fight where Tank was doing a lot of stuff, even though he wasn't as active as he normally was. He's not fighting to set up punches like he was. He was doing work, and you got to reward the effectiveness of that work, even if it's infrequent, especially when the other work that's coming is not really landing. There was a lot of shots that did not land that people were hooting and hollering for because it looked like it did. My man. All right, yourself.
Yeah.
You're looking good, man. All right. I see. So with that being said, man, Roach put on a fantastic performance. He put on a performance that made people realize that he was a talented fighter. He is a tremendous talent in boxing, and that, he needs to be respected. Now, that being the case, the DQ. Oh yeah, what?
Before that fight, remember? Like,
Yeah.
why is Tank fighting him? He ain't nobody, and this and that. So, yeah.
People were saying that if you fight another fight like Roach, then you're a duck and this and that. Now they saying because you won't fight Roach, you're a duck. So just think about it all.
The same people. Yeah.
Same people, as like you said, same people. And I'm not that person. I don't believe fighters have full discretion and autonomy to make fights. I believe for the most part, their team that represents them and puts their fights on has full autonomy. And certain fighters elevate themselves in their career that they can have more say so or say so. Canelo is one fighter. Canelo is one fighter. I think that maybe Bud might be another because I don't think he is really represented by anyone. But other than that, people have to listen to their thing. And when they go against it, look, Errol Spence went against his team. And look what happened. He has not been in the ring since. Now, that could be because he's not ready to get in the ring.
Going into his third year now, because that was in 23.
Third year. Third year, Cass. Come on now. Who takes 3 years off?
Wow. And he
so think about that. Think about that. People got to be educated. And can't their decision making.
Yeah.
Absolutely, Cass. Absolutely. So
Earl,
you know that's why I mean I know.
How old is Earl now?
I'm sorry.
How old is Earl now?
Oh, Earl. I think Earl is 30. I think he's 33 or 34.
Yeah. You know, being that age ain't good taking off no 3 years like that, man. You know.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? He could be 30. He could be 35 or yeah, you're right. He could be 35. So you know, just to put it in perspective, I know you know this better than I do because you saw him. Muhammad Ali was out the ring for how long?
Almost 4 years.
And in those 4 years, exactly. And in those 4 years, what made him so much better than everybody else had took a toll on him, had been taken away from him. And he came back, he still was great. He just wasn't as great as he was, where it was not even close. And every fight became. You said what? You said
you're
what?
right. He wasn't as good as he would have been if he would have been fighting all that time. You know.
Yeah, because of what you lose by not fighting.
Yeah.
By not getting that quality work, by staying sharp, by exercising the memory. What you do when you do it so much, it becomes like clockwork. He had lost that ability, and on top of that, you're not using muscles that you used to use. You're not exercising your brain the way that you normally do up in there. So a lot of things take place, and your timing gets lessened.
The words out of my mouth. Timing. Yeah.
So Earl getting in that ring after that long, I don't think he would go this long doing it unless it's not physically safe for him to get in the ring. They don't believe that. Or
they're not telling us the whole story, you know.
Or Cass, they still upset that he went against their better wishes to make this fight.
And still punishing him.
Well, not punishing. It's just like, I can't trust you no more, man, because you know we're putting our money up for this. Right. Now, granted, it did a great thing, but look, because of that fight, Cass, honestly, bro, like because of that fight and the Canelo fight, they're saying this man is like the greatest to ever put on some boxing gloves. And that right there is asinine. You could say he's one of the greatest, but to say the greatest off of 2 fights? No. What about the Madrimov fight? Did he look like the greatest in that fight? Nope. Madrimov surely doesn't look like the greatest opponent ever. And I think his next fight will bear that out.
He ain't fought the greatest. It's who you fought that makes you great, you know?
Man, and how you rise from adversity, like in that moment, man, seeing somebody like giving you all you can handle, and then in the one fell swoop, you make a move that changes the course of that. That shows greatness. You know what I'm saying? And you know, I've seen Ali go through so much turmoil in the ring, especially when he came back. Now, before he went in to serve that penalty, nobody was touching him. Nobody.
And you know what else, T. Hill? Greatness is when he was at 147 and Boots was calling him for greatness is fighting Boots. And he kept calling his name. That's greatness right there.
Well. I'm not gonna diminish him because I'm gonna be
No,
honest
I'm
with
not
you, Boots.
diminishing, but I'm saying if you want to talk about all-time greats, that's what all-time greats do, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Somebody
I hear
calling your
you.
name, getting in the ring with
No, but look. Greatness also defends their titles. I'm gonna say that he has won titles, but he hasn't defended many.
you.
He's still a great fighter, and he's still one of the greats to lace it up. But you know that does enhance his greatness. Then he has this opportunity where he can go have 2 fights at 60, and if he wins those 2 fights, he can become undisputed there. And then he can have a chance at going up to 75 and winning the undisputed title if Bivol and Benavidez get together and he fights and wins there. So there's still a path for him to say, even submit the claims that people have regarding him being great. But
That'd be like 7 weight classes. She's pulling up on Manny then.
him off the strength of just 2 fights, I don't think that puts you at that table where Muhammad Ali, Henry Armstrong, Sugar Ray Robinson and Sugar Ray Leonard and Floyd Mayweather, the likes of them, like these fighters, Joe Louis and them sit, man. I mean,
That don't put you there.
that's pedigree. That's doing stuff when you know what, everything was levied against you.
You think in the 70s, Muhammad Ali, some young heavyweight coming in calling him, I want to fight you. You think Muhammad Ali, you think he would fight him?
No, man. Muhammad Ali went through fights.
Yeah.
He's one of the few people I know who said, I'm champion, but your name is buzzing. I gotta fight you.
That's right.
I want that fight.
Yeah.
Like they're when they say one of one, Muhammad Ali truly is one of one. Henry Armstrong truly is one of one.
Yeah.
These are fighters who they just did things unlike other fighters did. And at that time, I'm gonna be honest with you, it's easier to make the fights because it's not as many people's hands you got agrees. It's not as many people promoting fights and sacrificing their biggest stock. And there isn't many paydays that you can get that is like, at that time, that was not a huge payday. Now, Muhammad Ali's an exception to the rule. He was making money hand over feet, but everybody else wasn't. They were fighting to feed their family.
Yeah.
Now, a fight can feed your family for a whole long time if you're the right person. So a lot of these things.
Was the big fight for everybody. That's when they made. Cause they used to thank him for giving them the fight. That's when they made their biggest payday, fighting him.
So Kaz, to put perspective to what you just said, because what you said is right. Not even people that were fighting Muhammad Ali, them people that was on that card that they got paid more than they ever got paid.
Right. Yep.
Just being on his card, you got more money.
Mm-hmm.
So he was a different dude. Like he was a different dude, and like you said, he went to wherever the fight would be that would be the best because he wanted to leave no doubt. Hey, I am that guy.
He didn't want nobody saying, "Well, he wouldn't fight me." Nobody can say that.
Yeah, nobody. So I ask you this: in that vein, do you think his daughter would be somewhat less of that? You think there's people that she didn't want to fight?
I don't think so.
I don't believe so either. I believe the fight that they said Wolf was trying to be made, it just didn't get made. I think she was actively trying to make that fight because she didn't like people saying that she was afraid of her.
Yeah.
So she was gonna go make that fight.
And her father was living then. He wasn't let her do that.
Absolutely.
Girl calling you out, you got to fight her.
Absolutely. And her father's mantra was, you say my name, then you better say it right. Remember, he beat somebody because they called him out of his name.
Yeah, Ernie Terrell.
He was in the ring beating him, saying, "What's my name?"
For the fight. Yeah.
Exactly. So come on, that's what she's known for.
Right.
My dad did that, so I don't believe that, and I don't even believe she's afraid to fight this girl now. Now, will she? I doubt it. She been out the ring longer than she been in the ring,
Yeah.
and that's not a really good look for her. But
No.
I don't believe she's afraid to get in that ring.
No.
I believe that. I don't believe that she's even worried that that girl is that much of a threat. She just worried if my dad struggled for 4 years, I've been out 5 times that amount. What would the struggle be for me?
Exactly.
So we got to look at that. But man, you know, I don't look at these fights and these fighters with like hate in my heart or stained glasses. You know what I'm saying? I see it for what it is.
Right.
And I wish other people would.
You know.
That's why I love coming here, man. We get to hear boxing.
Yeah.
We get to talk boxing. When we come up here, we get a chance to talk. We talking boxing. We talking about what boxing.
You know, how they really are.
Exactly. And that's what, unfortunately,
whether we like them or not.
Exactly. I'm not the biggest Marvin Hagler fan. I understand that he's a great boxer, a tremendous talent.
That's right.
I'm not the biggest Terrence Crawford fan, but I understand he is a great boxer. Now, let it be known that any fight that he has fought again, except for Spence, I have rooted for. I've never rooted against him. But
Spence was the Spence was the Earl fight.
And what he did to Spence, I don't take away from him because he was prepared. I just know that Spence did not look like he belonged in the ring. And since then, like you said, going on 3 years,
I know
he has not been in the ring. So one could use deductive and inductive reasoning to say, hey, yo, something must be wrong with Spence for him not to be in the ring. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I'm glad he didn't jump back in there against Fundora. Remember they was talking about that fight?
Yeah, I remember. If he's not right, I don't think. And honestly, what I saw that day, I don't know what that was, but it was definitely a look of somebody not being right.
Never seen
They're not. Yeah, never. And that's not taking away Bud. Bud was great. But then this next fight, he didn't look that great. Medrimov is not that much better than Spence. Come on. He didn't look like that. Even in the Canelo fight, he didn't look like that. Yeah, he was able to take care of the fight later on and control it from that point. Yeah, but there was but rounds 1 through rounds 1.
Yeah, by them championship rounds, he used to have him in hand, you know.
That's
when he didn't. You know,
he had to pull it out.
I was worried.
He had to pull it. Yeah, man. So you know, we gotta look at it for what it is. And I know because so many people go against people, we tend to go for people. But I'm not that dude. I don't care what people say or what people do, how often they go against people or not. All I know is what I see, and I tell you what I see. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it because people hate on it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it because I love them. I'm going to tell you what I saw.
And that's show you how phony people is, because they see the same thing, but they're not willing to say that. You know?
Exactly.
Same thing.
Exactly. And you know, that's a problem because there's not a lot of people. I know you've been to a lot of places and you've seen somebody get up on a panel, and no matter what it is, if it's anything to do with Tank or the PBC, it's never the truth. It's never to believe. They always got something. But anything that is opposing the PBC or Tank, they don't never have to have the burden of proof. They don't never have to. Everything that they say is on the up and up and is whatever. And that's generally how it is amongst these fan groups. Like either you rock with somebody or you rock with another. I rock with boxing.
Yes.
So I'm going to look to the lens of boxing and whatever benefits it. So that's what I'm going to talk to and speak to. I don't understand why people do what they do, man. It's just not cool. And this is grown ass men. Some of them are grown ass ladies.
And know better. You know they know better, but they just going on hate. You know.
Hate, man, and somebody else's agenda. These aren't even sometimes their opinions. They regurgitate, they parroting what they heard somebody else say.
I know that's crazy that you talking for. If you saying something you heard somewhere else, you might be saying something from somebody that don't even know what the hell they talking about. And you don't know what you talking about.
Exactly.
I gotta
that's
see
the crazy part. Exactly. And that's what the ring provides us. The ability to see it. So I'm not going to ever speak to nobody not getting in that ring that I want to see get in the ring with somebody else. I'm not going to ever justify why that fight don't happen. I know why it don't happen, but I also know that there can be a way to work around it. So I always hope that people would search for the way to work around it, because I would love to see the fight. But I understand that if they're not going to fight, it's not because people are afraid or duck.
Nah.
For the most part.
These guys been fighting since they was little children. They're not scared of each other. That's not the reason. I don't think so. But they've been doing their whole life. Why would they all of a sudden be scared?
Yeah.
Sometimes to make the money and stuff. That's why they was doing it. It's amateurs get up there and make some money. Now I'm a pro, all of a sudden I'm scared. When it's time to make my biggest money fight, all of a sudden I'm scared to do it. No, I can't believe that. I just can't.
No, I understand.
Reasons that go into that, you know. Like you say, the managers and whoever that advising them and all that, you know, you got to figure all that into it. And you know, like in the Earl situation, he went against him, and look what happened to him.
Yeah. And like I said, man, just
you know, all this time they can't find a fight for that man. Something ain't right.
Yeah, it was a lot of things that wasn't right that night. Now we talking about a dude that never really been busted up, was extremely busted up. You know what I'm saying? We talking about a dude who could hit and do damage, barely could do damage when he threw punches. Like barely could do.
Remember? How many times he get knocked down? Like 3 times?
I knocked down 3 times. It would have been more, man. And honestly, this is the thing. This is the thing. I think that he knew he was compromised in the ring, and he took it easy on him.
Yeah, but I think he did.
Because he could have did him even worse than what he did to him, dog. He couldn't get out the way.
Yeah, he could have.
Yeah, Cass. Yeah, exactly.
You notice Crawford is one of the best finishers in the game, and
one of the best, if not the best.
Knockdowns, he went at him like he normally go after a person after a knockdown. I didn't see that killer instinct against Earl.
You didn't see the normal killer instinct that he has.
Nope.
So he knew. And then when he said that comment, when I got hit, I was like, this is it? This is the power that everybody's talking about? That was his way of like letting it be known without letting it be known that I knew he wasn't right.
Yeah. But
it is what it is, man. He went in that ring, and because he went in that ring, he agreed that he was ready to go and ready to fight. And on that night, he was clearly not on the same level as Crawford was. And Crawford showed that night. So I give him his respect. He went in there. He won the fight with Matromoff. I give him his respect. And then he went in there and he likewise got rid of Canelo in the same fashion where, you know, he just won the last 4 rounds by such a wide margin that, you know, you can't even give it to Canelo.
No.
So shout out to Bud, man, you know, and that's what people should do as fans.
Yeah, whether you like him or not, you got to get a man his props. I was picking Canelo. But after the fight, I said, Bud did his thing, man. I was wrong. You know, he went in there and beat him straight up. But Canelo said after the fight, he said, "I tried my best, but I didn't have no answers." You know?
Well, yeah, I think because, like I say, with Canelo, and I don't think this makes a difference because, Canelo is slowing down and he's always had trouble with certain fighters.
Yeah.
So Canelo said this in one of the things. Crawford is good, but he is no Canelo. What does that mean? What does that mean? You believe this dude not even on your level.
That's what he was saying.
Do you then prepare for him like he is on your level or maybe a little bit surpass it? Nah, you don't. You think that no matter what you do, he gonna feel the power, he gonna buckle under the pressure. And it's gonna be like most people have been doing in your fights where you have not really been doing what you need to do to get them up out of there and to prepare to get them up out of there. So I believe that. I also believe that if he does prepare himself, unless he comes with a different game plan and changes the tendencies that he has, he's probably going to lose again. It just be a lot closer in the last part of the fight, because that's where the separation truly happened. In rounds 9, 10, 11, and 12. 9, Crawford had started off losing that round, but then he just turned it on. And then 10, 11, and 12, it was just clear like, hey, yo, Canelo had tapped out. He didn't have no more. He just started looking more so than throwing punches. He wasn't doing anything. So, because he figured that, what I was doing wasn't working. And he was blocking or catching or evading every big punch. Now, the punches that hit his body definitely moved the hell out of him. So he was clearly hitting hard because he was hitting him and he would move. Hitting, he would move. He just was catching them. So they're not scoring. They're being parried. They're being blocked. They're being evaded. And it was frustrating for him. And when you saw him off balance, it wasn't because he got hit. It's like when Roach hit Tank, when Tank reached and lunged and he kind of like stumbled, lost his foot. And it wasn't because it was a hard punch and he was stumbled. It was because he was off balance. Well, Canelo was mentally off balance and physically peaked, because he didn't really expect Crawford to be that difficult for him. And that was his mistake. But like I said, that being the case, I believe no matter how prepared Canelo is, unless he changes his game plan, changes his way of attack, then he's going to be predictable again. So that's what he has to worry about.
You think it's going to be a rematch? You're talking rematch?
Man, I'm hearing rematch, and it makes sense. Like, what other fight can he command that type of money that he's going to try to command for? Think about it. Somebody that I just fought got $100 million and I beat them. So what do you think I'm worth? So now you juxtapose that with the people that he's going to have to fight. How's he going to get that money from them? Those fights aren't worth that.
Staying at 168 earlier today.
You said what?
I saw something earlier today that was saying Crawford is going to stay at 168.
Nah, that I don't believe, unless he's fighting. What's the name? His Hamza Shiraz, the old boy's boy.
For the rematch.
The rematch would be the only thing, yeah. So that'd be the only thing, and that would be his biggest money making fight. And I mean, let's face it, he's been strategic in his fights that he's been taking since then. And all of them are leading to bigger purses. He's not going to take a step down for a much less purse.
I'm 38 years old. I'm not taking no backwards.
So I don't believe that he'll be doing anything other than a rematch or something else that's going to yield a lot of money. Yeah.
What's up, Ant? You got Ant in here with you.
The question is, what can Canelo do? I just think it's a hopeless cause for him.
Yeah, it looked hopeless in that last one. It definitely did, especially toward the end.
I just don't believe he has the means to do anything different with him in particular.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the dimensions. If he were to try to fight on the back foot,
Yeah,
how successful could he be doing that?
not very.
When they had that exchange in the 9th round and they fought on the inside,
Mm-hmm.
Crawford looked superior there too.
He sure did. Yeah, I was like, don't get greedy now, but he was putting it on Canelo.
To be honest with you, I feel like if he wanted to do that more frequently in that fight, he very well could have.
Yeah, I thought he could have too. I thought he could have done it earlier.
I'm just looking at the way it played out from a technical standpoint.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
the
he would
guy
have to.
retained his speed at 68. Like he had good speed on his punches. From a physical standpoint, yeah, Canelo is a sturdy guy, but there's strength and then there's functional strength.
Facts.
Yeah.
And Bud is
Nah,
one of those
facts.
guys where he understands leverage. I mean, he's got a wrestling background and all that stuff.
Yep. Exactly.
And then also just the training. Canelo is not an inside fighter. Canelo is a mid-range counterpuncher.
Mm-hmm.
The instances when we were going over the fights, T-Hill, in preparation for this one, the instances where we seen him fight on the inside, he didn't look all too good, Canelo.
At all. He didn't even look like he wanted to fight on the inside.
Like John Ryder was working it throughout the fight on the inside. Whenever they fought on the inside, John Ryder was getting the better of it. Because Canelo is a mid-range counterpuncher. He's not a pressure fighter. He's not a brawler.
Mm-hmm.
But he has to come forward because more often than not, especially at 168, and this is why I give Canelo a lot of credit. He's a smaller man. Inch reach or something like that. 69 at the most.
Something like that, yeah.
And he's only about 5'7.5".
That's all. I think Crawford was a little. What is Crawford like? He was a little taller, wasn't he?
I think he was like 5'8". Yeah, 5'8.5", maybe. He was a little taller.
And he had about 5 inches in reach.
Oh yeah, definitely had the reach.
And
he had about 5 inch in reach. Bud has a 75-inch reach.
Yeah.
But another thing is that Crawford doesn't disguise his punches. I mean, I'm sorry. Canelo doesn't disguise his punches. Like, he was able to know where the punches were going to come, where they were going to land. He caught every single punch. And that stuff was starting to take a toll on your boy's psyche. He was getting frustrated like a mug.
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
That's the technique, though, T-Hill. If you look at the way he throws his left hook, it drops. Canelo, more often than not, when he throws his left hook, he doesn't fire it from the shoulder. So it's not short, tight, and compact. It's a wide winging shot. So even though Canelo has pretty good hand speed, Canelo's got good hand speed, but with a guy like Bud, and I would assume, the guy got 3 coaches, that they all had him prepared.
Yeah.
Between Bomac, Red, and Saul, those guys were watching all the film they could on Canelo. So that by the time he saw that left hook, he knew when it was coming. Because once again, there's a wind up. I don't know if you guys can see me, but look. When Canelo throws his left hook, he doesn't throw it from here. It's not tight from up here. It drops down and comes around. So despite the fact that it's still fast, you can still time it because there's an obvious tell. If it drops, he's coming around with it. And then with the right hand, my personal theory is this. I would love to ask his coaches, but my personal theory is the fact that he doesn't have the longest reach. When he throws his right hand, he wants to make sure that he's in range to hit the mark. So when you see him throw his right hand, more often than not, he's not going to throw a lead right hand. It's generally preceded by 2 probes. So he's measuring that range before he throws the right
Yeah.
hand. So if he goes to probe, you can just time him. Because if he probes more times, he might probe and throw the uppercut, but when he does probe and throw the uppercut, it's not with the same hand. It's not with the lead. He won't probe and throw the uppercut. He'll probe and then he'll throw the uppercut, the rear uppercut with his right hand. Or he'll probe and then he'll throw an overhand right. So you're able to time that. And there was a moment where he had Bud along the ropes and he went to line him up for the right hand. So he begins to probe. What did Bud do? He punched him before he could get the shot off and popped his head off and then just rolled out. So I think that Canelo, and I agree with T Hill 1000%. I do think that he is predictable, but I believe that part of what makes him predictable is the fact that his style is based around his attributes. Like, I feel like if Canelo had longer reach, he probably wouldn't have to measure as much as he does before he let his right hand go. If he was like you see how Thomas Hearns could just let the right hand go.
Yeah.
But Thomas Hearns, what was Thomas Hearns' reach, Cass?
I think he had like damn near 80 something, wasn't it?
You know what I'm saying? So if
Yeah, I thought it was like.
I know it was up there. I know it was longer than
I thought it was
75.
82.
Yeah.
82. So
I thought it was 82.
Yeah.
So Thomas Hearns didn't have to sit there and measure you all day before throwing the right hand. He had enough confidence in his range and just knowing, his spatial awareness. Like, I can get you from right hand. I could just let it go.
Right.
Canelo got to double check. Because if Canelo reaches with that short reach, now he's going to be overextended. If he's overextended, now he's vulnerable.
Yep.
So you got to double check.
Yeah, Hearns didn't have to worry about that.
But as a result of him having to do that, it does make him predictable to T Hill's point. Like, it makes him very predictable. Because if he's measuring twice, 9 times out of 10, he's going to throw the right hand. And I think that's where it would be beneficial to him if his coaches were to say, like, okay, this is a part of your game that's constant, right? But what if instead of throwing the right hand every single time you measure, why don't we change it and throw the left hand? Or why don't we change it and go to the body? But more often than not, you see him, it'll be touch, and then he throws the overhand right. It's like, bro, you got to switch that up.
It's true.
And with Bud, you cannot show him the same thing over and over again. He's going to pick up on it too easily.
Yeah. He probably came into the fight knowing that, like you were saying, it's all the film they watched and everything, And then as in seeing it for a few rounds, like you said, I'll probably see the same result too in the next fight, if they were to fight again. But I saw something earlier saying that Bud was going to stay at 168 and defend his titles. That was just like,
I didn't see that, but I'd be interested in seeing that.
Yeah.
Or even just retire, man. Right off into the sunset. 3-time undisputed, 42-0.
He got 5 divisions.
And T Hill made a great point about the monetary aspect of it. I mean, where do you go from a business standpoint from Canelo? I mean, at that point, that's pretty much the pinnacle.
Yeah. Anything else be like a backward step,
I'm sure he'll still be paid handsomely, but it probably won't be along those lines unless somebody is feeling generous. And I don't think it's no indictment on Bud, because contrary to popular belief, Bud has always done well out there in Omaha. From my understanding, his shows have always sold out, so it's not like he doesn't have a base.
Unless he want to do it for legacy, get another big name in there. But I don't think he worried about
that. At this
that.
point, though, legacy smegacy.
Yeah, that's right. You got 5.
What more legacy do you need?
3-time undisputed, 4 division, 4 belt era, 5 divisions. And he's only the 6th man to do that, 5 divisions. He got some big all Hall of Famers. Only Hall of Famers have done that so far. You know?
Absolutely. I mean, when you do what he did, you're entering like Henry Armstrong territory. At
Yeah.
that point.
That's right.
Rarefied air.
Yes. Yeah, so you like legacy spagacy. What's up, B3?
What's going on, Cass? And
We just chopping it up.
Drizzle.
man, I wanted to ask you this real quick, Cass, because I haven't got a chance to see what your thoughts were with the Fabio Worley, Joe Parker.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll take Parker
yeah.
in a decision.
I think that's gonna be a good fight, though.
Yeah.
It's
Very
unfortunate.
good fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Because Worley is tough. Like Worley he's durable.
Yeah, he is.
And Parker's extremely durable too, because he took some big shots from Big Bang Zhang.
That's why I say a decision. I don't see either one getting stopped.
Yo,
I think it's
let me say this too, because Ant,
you know.
let me say this. Ant was cooking. Can you hear me? Or like in regards to that too, with Canelo's his strong suits and his plan working to certain degrees because of the way he uses his strong suit and measures it. Crawford's mentality was such that it would allow for him to stay calm doing anything that Canelo would do that usually affects other opponents, to not only measure it with a counter but also measure an attack. Like, he's not rattled in the ring at all. So he's able to remain calm and still to see all right, this is where I need to attack. This is the opening. Not to just that along with the preparation that he was thoroughly prepared for that fight.
Yeah.
Thoroughly prepared. That was just,
But all the film they probably watched and everything, the sweet coaches we got.
And going to what B3 said about the Worley fight, I mean, I do use that fight with Zhang for Parker to measure that, he's a tremendous boxer and he was outboxing Zhang, but Zhang was able to touch him. So Worley will be able to touch him, but Zhang known to spark people too, and he got back up and he's still able to do so. Worley might spark him, hit him, and he can get knocked down, but he has shown that he can get up. He has the resolve to get up and to resume and carry on. But Worley does have that dynamic punch, and if he hits him just right, because Parker can get hit and touched and has been in his career, it could be night. So that's a dangerous fight from that aspect.
Which way you leaning to here?
Leaning towards Parker. I'm siding with him controlling the distance and the timing a lot better than Hooney did later on in that round. Like, Hooney just gave him an opportunity. I don't believe Parker gives him. But like I said, the fact that he took Zhang's toughest punches and got up 3 times in that fight, 2 times in that fight. That means he got a little bit of resolve. Now, I'm saying that was for sure. I'm not saying
Breaking up now to you.
I'm not saying, I might be gone. Yeah, sorry about that. I'm not saying that Worley is not able to get rid of him, because Worley he has one punch power. One punch power can get you up out of there. But if Parker is able to accommodate that and pretty much work around it, I see him controlling the fight.
Yeah. Hey, and when you saw that knockout and when you saw Hooney's feet, what was your thoughts? I know you was like disgusted when you saw that. I would thought about you. I was like, Ant probably like, look at this brother. He was boxing beautifully, and in the 10th round, he kind of he lunged in. He made a big mistake with his foot placement. He was squared up, and Fabio cold caught him right on the jaw, dropped him, and you know how they do in the UK, Cass, for A side. They weighed that thing off.
That was it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was wild.
Oh, my thoughts were, man, it happened, Joe, because it was an exchange. I'll say this. For me, it wasn't so much the positioning because what's the name? Wardley was at equal distance, so he had an opportunity to catch him with the same right hand. They both threw right hands at the same time. Well, one guy got his head off the line and the other guy didn't.
Great point.
Yeah. It was like Rocky and Jersey Joe Walcott did. They both threw at the same time, but Rocky got Susie Q first. And Jersey Joe went to sleep.
Remember, that's how Teofimo Lopez became the IBF champion. Him and Richard Comey were throwing a right hand at the same time. T.O. got his head off the line. Comey's was there.
Yeah.
But it just shows you, man, just like that little nuance. Like in boxing, it's like that. It could be literally you just not getting your head off the line an inch or so. Like the margin for error is so damn small in boxing sometimes.
Changed the whole fight. Yeah.
1000%.
Who you got on that one, B3? Parker and Woodley.
I just have to go. I'm going Joe Parker.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest though. I didn't like how Wardley looked in his last fight with Hooney, who's also an orthodox fighter, but also a fighter there with good movement and will let his hands go. And I think Joe Parker is very underrated.
Mm-hmm.
And also he's a bigger heavyweight. He's bigger than you think, you know what I'm saying, as far as his size in the ring.
Yeah. I know what
So
you're
I don't think but I do like Wardley. He's been working on his foot feints. He's been working on, you know, his you know, just kind of changing levels with his jab, with his lead hand. He's been doing well. He's been doing pretty well. I mean, in order to set up that shot with Hooney, he definitely was to be outboxed and outclassed for most of 10 rounds and to kind of keep your wits about you.
Yeah.
I love his resolve. So I really don't want to bet against him in this fight, to be honest. Because he kind of has that thing where that it factor where and he'll prove it. This fight will be the one to prove it. If he can beat Joe Parker, he'll show that he's just one of those guys that's gonna win fights. He's you know, that white collar background. It's like it don't matter. Like I don't care who you think you are. Wardley gonna beat you up at this point. You know what I'm saying? If he can beat Joe Parker, I want to see him versus Usyk. I want to see him versus Usyk. I'd be like, he earned it. Yeah.
Will the winner get Usyk? What if Parker wins?
Either one is gonna get Usyk. Usyk already said it. Yeah, he said it.
Okay. Oh, okay. Right. Yeah,
he gonna take it.
See, that's the thing for Usyk. What I would do is, I would clean that fight. I would clean Wilder. I would clean what's his name? Itwama. And if Bakoli,
said no to Moses,
I'm just saying, if he does that, then it's like, who do you need me to fight to validate me? Because I have done everybody, the ties to the great champions before me. I already got Joshua, I got Fury, now I got Wilder. The Young Bucks.
Only thing he needs, he already validated.
I don't think he needs anything, but I'm just saying because a lot of people somehow be discrediting, his work in the ring. Yeah. And you know he's pretty much handled everybody he's been in the ring with, and everything that they're great at, they're not great against him in the ring at it. So he's
remember?
Yeah. So I mean, and it seems to be fairly easy for him. So if he were to do that, then there was nothing that you could say to this man because I checked off all the major names, and some of these young bucks that y'all be hyping and praising, I got rid of. I'm done.
Yeah.
Well said.
I can see that to you. I like the sound of that.
And I'm with you, B3, as far
Yeah,
as if
I
he's able
mean
to get past Joseph
the
Parker, why
Tama
not
fight. I
give him
think
Usyk?
I think it's too soon for a Tama, but hey, put him in there.
Yeah, you're right. Put him in there. That's true.
No, I'm not.
There's
I'm
I
not
only
don't know
one
if
way
saying
to
right
Frank
find
know.
now.
out.
Frank could be sitting on a gold mine.
I'm not saying
You
right
know,
now because
if he play it right, he could Moses Atama, he could be the future of the heavyweight division
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying
if he
right
play it
now
right,
because
but
like
I
you
don't
said
know, man.
and like
I
Ant
just
was just
figure
about to
like
say.
for instance like this, right?
I think he like
Oh, I think he's like
number
21 or
one.
something. Yeah, he
Yeah.
really high ranked, but I don't feel like it's gonna get him beat, Cass.
Yeah.
It
That's
could be
Because he
one
true.
of
hasn't
those
been tested.
Ali listed situations though, B3. You
I would
never
love
know. And
that.
that's the funny thing about history. We've seen this. This is like that where the young guy was
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
he was the underdog by a huge margin, and then he comes
Mm-hmm.
in and you know what I mean? So it's possible. Mike
Yeah.
Tyson became undisputed at what, 20?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. 20. Yep.
So it can happen, especially with the heavyweights. And I think that Atama, to your point, he could be sitting on a gold mine with him.
Mm-hmm.
He may have the attributes to give Usyk a better fight than some of these other guys who are more experienced.
Mm-hmm.
Because although these guys have the experience,
Right.
they've been in championship fights, they've been on the world level. Like, let's face it, Daniel Dubois is a hell of a story, the way that he's been able to bounce back and right the ship.
Mm-hmm.
But when you see him, he just doesn't have that wiggle to his game. It's no snap. Everything is just straight power. Loads up damn near every right hand. That's how Usyk was able to read him and see him coming from a mile away. I didn't realize how frequently he did it because I started looking at his technique. T Hill and I think 2 cents. We were watching Usyk Dubois, the first one.
Mm-hmm.
I started noticing. I'm like, I'm looking at the right hand. I'm seeing how frequently Usyk was able to evade that shot, right? And they say the right hand is the southpaw killer. That's the punch you're supposed to throw against the southpaw.
Yep.
So I'm like, either Usyk is just phenomenal, and this guy, he's just otherworldly with his anticipation, or just like great reflexes, or there's something that Dubois is doing that he is able to read. And what I noticed was when he throws his jab, he stays upright, doesn't bend his knees. He just fires it from a straight upright position. But nearly every single time he throws his right hand, he squats first.
Mm.
So he squats, then he throws the right hand. So he was able to read that. But most of the time, like you see him, he's able to change levels. He's able to be high and throw low. He's able to be low and throw high. He's got really good athleticism. And then he's also got really good punch placement and variation. I think that he's nimble enough, he's agile enough to where if Usyk were to try to utilize angles on him, right? And we've seen some guys that have phenomenal footwork, but when you're in there with a guy who's just as athletic, like look at Lomachenko. The toughest fights that he had were against Devin Haney, where he lost, and Jermaine Ortiz. And why was that? Because those young guys, they had the legs. Other guys may have the intelligence, they may have the experience, but there are those other attributes like the legs. You know what I'm saying? So when he was trying to turn those guys, he couldn't turn those guys. He couldn't just turn Jermaine Ortiz because Ortiz had the legs. He couldn't just turn Dev because Dev has the legs. And I think that Atoma, I think that he's got the legs. That's something that Daniel Dubois and these other guys just don't have.
There we go. We got a newcomer. What's up, Keon?
Good evening.
You made it up to the panel today. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thank you for having me.
Okay.
Are you still discussing the best of the British or boxing in Britain?
Whatever. Yeah. We was talking about Moses Atama just now. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, some people say Frank Warren's keeping him in witness protection. You know, sort of feeding some of the old guys to him, like Pulev and Dillian White, all the guys are a little bit kind of shop worn, you know. But yeah, at
Smart move.
prospect level, it's difficult to you know, let him off the leash because you don't want to kind of it's damage limitation, isn't it? But that you're never gonna know unless you lose your O.
That's right.
I like that saying. I'm writing that down in my notebook. You're never gonna know. Like you lose that O. Yo, as he was saying that, it made me think about Marvis Frazier. Remember they threw Marvis Frazier
Yeah,
with Larry Holmes in like
they
his
said it
in
was
his
the
10th fight.
first, man.
Yeah.
Yes, they threw him in there with Larry Holmes early in his 10th fight.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Joe Frazier, I mean, he was a great trainer. Like a lot of people came through his gym, but they said that he needed the money. You know, Smoking Joe needed that money. I don't know. He had Meldrick Taylor as well, didn't he? And they left him. And he had Burt Cooper and people like that. So, you know, he probably thought this is a good opportunity. Why not? But I mean, I don't know. In his heart, he must have felt he wasn't ready. You know, but he probably thought, just go for it while it's there.
Right.
What'd you think about Prince Charles Martin as a step up?
Charles Martin, I mean, again, what was his last? Was he 2015 or 2016? He was it IBF type? No,
Yep.
not IBF.
Yeah, it was the IBF. He lost it to AJ.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, like a lot of people say about Mike Tyson. No offense to Mike Tyson in his 1980s career, very exciting guy. A lot of people say that he ate a lot of Larry Holmes leftovers and avoided Tim Witherspoon. You know, it's just they're feeding the old guys to the prospects. I mean, look, yeah, it's difficult. That's the way the game always been. You know.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to say that was a profound statement that you made, Ryan, just a few seconds ago. Like they say, a series is never really a true series until a home team loses a game. That's when the series becomes actually a
I don't
series.
know if my service went out or not. Can y'all hear me?
But
Anybody talk?
we hear you, B3. But to the point about never knowing until you lose the O, which I'm in agreement with. I'm B3. I hear you on Charles Martin, but it seems like you can throw him in there with the variety of guys that he's already been facing. And what do we think, realistically, Charles Martin can reveal about Moses Atonement that we don't already know?
Not a lot. Your American boxing program. I mean, who you got? You got Michael Hunter still like lurking around.
Well, that's why. That's
Joshua
all
Edwards.
You know, Frank Sanchez.
Covered is bare, man.
The problem is with you guys
Thank you.
is that your Olympic program sucks right now. That's the problem. You ain't got no amateur. Like, where's the Golden Gloves boys that were coming out?
Hold on,
like,
hold on. Are you referring to our just the heavyweights in general?
the heavyweights? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
not
the
as a
amateur
whole,
pipeline
because you
ain't
guys
there.
have got that covered in lower weights. But I'm talking about heavyweights. You know?
You know though. You know what we're gonna say.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The money is in basketball and football and baseball and
That hurt
you know how that
Remember
is. You know what
Kenny
it is.
Adams? He had all the top boys, you know, back in the day. Kenny Adams with Ray Mercer, Riddick Bowe.
Yeah.
Yeah, all those guys. Ex-military
We had
guy
him back
trained him
then.
up, you know. He had all of them.
Yeah.
84 and 88. No, 76. All the way back to 76, I think it was on the program. From 76 to 88, I think.
Who was that?
Kenny Adams.
Oh, Kenny Adams. Okay.
Yeah. He was the coach for all of those programs. That
Yeah.
produced,
Yeah, I remember.
You know,
Kenny.
What's your
the
thoughts
Spring
on
Boys.
Richard Torres?
Richard Torres, I think. Were they working together?
No, I'm just asking you. You know, he's a USA heavyweight. He came out of the Olympic program. I think he got a silver medal, right?
Yes.
When was that?
He got stopped by Jalalov. What year was that? Was that 2020? Something like that,
He
maybe?
was in
Tokyo.
the COVID one.
Yeah.
The one they had the year late.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we had
Uh-huh.
Fraser Clark come out, right? And he got
Yeah.
destroyed by Fabio Wardley in the rematch. I mean, Fabio Wardley, he was getting owned by Justice Huni, and I could see he was looking for that right-hand counter the whole night. I said to my missus, I said, look, he's looking for that right-hand counter, and he waited for it the whole night. You know, he got it. But
Yeah.
there's a very
Yeah.
limited skill set. He didn't come from a traditional amateur background or pedigree. He came from what they call the white collar, which is like what we call unlicensed boxing over here. So that wasn't even part of the England boxing program.
So what do you think about this fight Saturday then? Wardley and Parker.
I mean, I would favour Parker on the experience
Okay.
that he's being through it. But again, he got creamed by Joyce. Do you know what I mean? But Joyce he had a much better pedigree as well. But then we know what happened to Joyce as well after that. 2 fights with Zhang, and then everyone said he's kind of washed now, you know? So
yeah, the juggernaut.
And that's the concern that I have for Fabio Wardley, where it's like he's a very tough guy. Clearly, he's naturally gifted. The guy's got God-given power, but how many fights can you go through, like the first Frazier Clark fight, or like the fight with Justice Huni? Like, how many fights can you go through?
Put
like
miles on the clock, man. Trust me. Yeah, you can put miles on the clock.
Because I feel like that's what happened with Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce was the juggernaut, where he's just walking through guys.
Yep.
Man, he had
through
the
their shots
Terminator
to get his
theme
own
tune
shots.
and all that coming out, and then just yeah.
Then that Zhang fight happened, and in his eye, it's been looking kind of shaky ever since.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen him have that fight with Dillian White, because obviously that he got the Atalma fight because Dillian Dillian got the Atalma fight because Joyce I think had an injury or something, didn't it? Or it could have been the other way around, but that was the one I would like to have seen. Yeah.
Dillian pulled out for that payday. Let's be honest.
Yeah. I mean, people were saying about Bacoli as well, right? I mean, Parker had Bacoli as a last-minute replacement for Dubois.
Yeah.
I mean, Dubois, Parker would have probably been a quite a competitive type of fight. I mean, we got the Usyk rematch, which, I mean, in fairness, it was okay. I suppose it was the right thing to do, and Usyk, a man of his word, agreed to it. I had no issues, even though I'm British, saying Usyk won the first time without any kind of controversy. I think I think he did take a little bit too long with the low blow, but I mean, he was entitled to it, you know, and it was a low blow in my opinion. So yeah, just that's the way I view it. But yeah, British guys, I don't know, it's just not. I think Usyk's got it on lock. I think he says he's got 5 defenses left. I mean, I'd like to see him have the winner of Parker Wardley, Caballel. I think Caballel definitely deserves his opportunity.
I know.
I mean, I'd like to see if Jai Apataya goes like for a step-up fight, you know, to a bit like Leonard Hagler, you know, a bit like I'm going to step up to super middle for this, you know, one of them type of fights. And then if Usyk could beat, you know, Jai Apataya, Jai Apataya is like brutal, man. Sometimes I have to turn it off because he's so nasty. You know, to see Usyk try to stop the guy or beat him would be impressive. You know, he needs a bit more depth in his resume, but he's still great, you know. His heavyweight resume.
Yeah, I got Usyk taking that one versus Opetay. And I agree with you as far as the brutality is concerned, because he was very spiteful versus David Nika. That look that he had on his face after he stopped him, he just looked disgusted. Like, how dare you put this guy in the ring with me? He's just got a nasty disposition.
Did you see his fight with Jordan Thompson, the British guy? That was a bloodbath, man. And Eddie Hearn put him in there knowing he was like a lamb to the slaughter. And that was just, that's one of the few fights I had to turn off because it was just was not competitive at all. Yeah, that was a horrible fight, man. You know? Yeah. But then, you know, that Mexican guy don't want the work. Do you know what I mean? He don't want it right now. What's his name? The one who's
Zoro Ramirez?
Golden Boy. Yeah, he don't look like he wants it. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. Unless His Excellency can put that one together or demand it. I don't know.
I think he would probably take the fight. The one thing I have noticed, though, I believe it's Oscar De La Hoya, because there seems to be a pattern with him, with the way that he moves his fighters.
Yeah.
And you got to find that fine line between matchmaking these guys for development and matchmaking these guys to raise their public profile.
Yeah.
And it seems like he generally leans towards the latter. Because
Yeah.
he'll have them in there, had their record up to about 40-0, but he'll have these guys facing a whole lot of cannon fodder, where these fights don't really do anything for their development, and then you see them in there in a fight that's supposed to be competitive, and they can look a bit out of their depths.
Yep.
The problem is now is we don't have any gatekeepers like we did have in the old days, right? Like you look at your top 10 and back in the day, every gatekeeper was like a prospect or like a title challenger, right? Now we don't even really have like gatekeeper status anymore, because it's either like, yeah, like people, it's not the same, you know?
No,
Even
you're right.
prospect.
You're right about that. I never thought about that, but that's a good point. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I liked Oscar as a boxer. As a promoter, it's a different story. But I mean, people still would critique Oscar, saying he didn't fight Winky Wright, you know. So I don't know. Yeah, you can't please anybody or everybody.
No, nobody should be critiquing Oscar resume.
Yeah, he was probably best fight I ever saw him was Jesse James,
Leisha.
WBO.
Yeah. 1996.
That was his best fight, I think. Well, not his best fight, but
he won Fighter of the Year that year, didn't he? I think.
What was that?
Didn't he win Fighter of the Year that year?
Yeah. Because I remember it's at Madison Square Garden, that one. WBO title, I think, because obviously the lesser titles. But
he fought 4 top 10 opponents. That he fought one of the remember the Rialis brothers. He fought one of them. Jesse James, Leach. I forgot who the other 2 were that he fought. But yeah, he had a big year that year. Yeah.
I was going to say, just back to the topic, British fighters. Here recently, there was a survey conducted, I think, by Boxing News, which is a publication that's been around since about 1909 or something like that. And
they was around before Ring Magazine.
Yeah. Precedes the Ring. And they said that I think Joe Kawasaki was voted the best British fighter, but I mean, because I guess he's undefeated, right? But I mean, Joe Kawasaki was great, but yeah, people could say, you know, obviously there's the B-Hop fight, which still left a lot of people saying, you know, it's controversial. Some people used to pick the fight between him and Robin Reed for the WBC middleweight or super middleweight fight. That was kind of a controversial one. Yeah, the other one.
Sometimes people doing those best fighters, they only go back to a certain year. They don't go back far enough.
No.
Because I got Jimmy Wald. He was way back there.
Like Kid Berg. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those guys.
Ted Kid Lewis.
Yeah.
All those guys, man. See, some
you
people
got one off.
Best. They don't go back far enough.
You got one-off kind of fights like you know, like Lloyd Honeyghan and Lloyd Honeyghan and Randolph Turpin and all those kind of guys. But I mean, we're talking about like consistent type of form. Do you know what I mean? Like maintaining that consistency.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
But yeah, I mean, Joe Kawasaki's good. I remember his fight with Omar Shika. Do you remember that fight? And it was quite competitive. Yeah, it was quite competitive. But I mean, it got kind of stopped early. I was watching it with my friend, and we were like, "Hang on, did that get stopped early?" And Joe Kawasaki said that he reckons he was opening his eye up, and that's why the referee stopped it. So I don't know, but that looked quite close to me when I watched it before. You know?
Yeah, that was a good fight. Kessler.
Kessler. Sorry.
But he beat everybody they put in front of him, so you know they all professional boxers.
What more can you ask?
You know, yeah.
46 of them. He was voted the best British boxer. But
I wouldn't say all that.
You know.
Yeah. Like I said, a lot of people don't go back far enough when they do that. You know, they go back to like 1990 or something like that. All those guys fought back in the 1900s and the 20s and the 30s. What about all those guys?
Well, you know,
I can
John L.
think of like
Sullivan,
10 of them
right?
off the top of my head I would put in front of Joe Kawasaki.
Well, John L. Sullivan, right? Because there's some people say about, did the lineal heavyweight title start back in 1882 with Paddy Ryan? No, right?
I think so.
It started much later for the heavyweight, but people say it was for the North American heavyweight title, right? But he had 20. John L. Sullivan defended the North American title 26 times in a row, undefeated, right? And then I think he had 6 defenses of the world heavyweight title, and then obviously it transferred over. But like he had, what was that? Like 32 undefeated, like run, you know? But that's not for the lineal heavyweight title.
No, they had no lineal back then.
Yeah.
No.
And that was just with the introduction of the gloved era, you know?
Right, because he was bare knuckles for a while there, remember?
Yeah.
Sullivan, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, my top 5 heavyweights is Jack Johnson.
For British or overall?
Oh, overall,
Okay.
chronologically, I would say Jack Johnson.
Yeah.
Joe Louis. Cassius Clay, Ali, the first version. And then maybe the second Muhammad Ali version. Larry Holmes and Lennox Lewis. Those are the top 5, I think, for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, it depends who you like, right? And what you like.
Yeah. Like you say, it's subjective, but yeah. I would have 3 of those 3 in the top. Lewis, Ali, Holmes would be in my top 5 too. Who was the other 2 you said? Lennox?
Lennox and Jack Johnson.
And Jack
Based
Johnson.
on who they beat at the time.
Yeah, that's right. Who you fought, when you fought them too, matters, you know?
Yeah. Because they were even saying like Johnson wasn't the man until they wheeled out my guy, James J. Jeffries, the Boilermaker. Do you know what I mean? They were saying that we weren't the legit guy, but you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He beat the champion.
He beat them all.
Was it Tommy Burns? He beat for the title.
Yeah, the Canadian guy.
So why do they say he wasn't a legit guy? He beat the champion.
Yeah, I think he had like that Canadian guy had like 13 defenses. Although they caught in the color thing, didn't they? He was because Jack Johnson was the world colored
champion first. Yeah.
But then he didn't want none of my man Sam. He didn't want it again, did he? He didn't want to give him the chance at it.
No, he chased him all over the world.
Yeah. No, Sam Langford. He didn't fight Sam Langford.
Oh, Sam Langford.
He had a draw with him, but he didn't
fought
let
him
have an opportunity.
But once he won the title, he never fought him again. He fought him when he had the colored version.
Yeah. That's right. And it was
official title. When he got the official title, he never fought him again.
So he didn't let him have it.
Fight, you know, where he didn't want to face Sam again. And Sam was blind in one eye, remember?
Trust me, yeah.
And like a middleweight, weighing about 160. And he still didn't want to fight him.
You got to think Bob Fitzsimmons went up from middleweight right
too.
To heavyweight.
He sure did.
You know?
He sure did, yeah. He was the first 3-division champion.
Yeah, I mean, late 1890s, you know?
Yes. Yeah, way back then. Yeah.
I mean, we hung on to that for a long time before, before Lennox got that vacated WBC title. We hung on to that
Fitzsimmons. Yeah, Lennox was the first one since Fitzsimmons, right? First British heavyweight champion, wasn't he?
Yeah.
He said y'all hung on to that a long
time. We hung on to that a lot. We had Frank.
Like
we were campaigning for Frank for a long time, and obviously Frank couldn't do the business either. So you know.
Yeah. Yeah. But it was British boxing. Was you in here for the whole show, or you just came in late?
I came in late, man.
Yeah. I talked about some of the top things that happened in British boxing and some active fighters too. That's still active, you know.
Well, now we got a good domestic like matchups, you know, like for British and Commonwealth titles and like guys fighting for, you know, domestic or the Lonsdale belt, you know.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got good back and forths with those sort of like levels, but not at like international level. Domestically, it's quite good, but
Let
internationally,
me ask you this.
you know.
What you think
Yeah.
about Sam Noakes and Abdullah Mason fight coming up?
I don't know much about that, to be honest.
Okay. Yeah. Down at 135, I think they lightweight, right? Yeah.
Okay.
My guy in the UK right now is Jack Rafferty. I love watching him
Rafferty?
fight. Yes.
Okay.
Have you seen George Liddard? He just beat Kieran Conway for the middleweight
No, I've
title.
never
He's
seen
very,
him fight.
he's very good, George
He
Liddard.
just fought the
yeah.
other day, Cass. They just had
Oh,
the
did
fight
he?
the other day. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
It's on the
I'll
zone.
pull it up.
yeah, he's very good.
He
He's
fought
middleweight.
this past weekend or during the week?
Last Friday.
Oh, last Friday. Okay. I'll check him out.
Yeah, he's very impressive.
Okay.
And he trains with Tony Sims. You know, he's one of the Matchroom guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Another guy from the UK that I always liked, I always felt he was underrated. I should say underrated, was George Groves. I don't know what it was about George Groves, but I used to love George Groves.
Yeah.
He's a
never
bit like
really-
what we call in the UK cheeky chappy, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He never really got his props. I think he deserved.
A lot of people were happy when he beat Chris Eubank Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah. and I know people say he punches hard for the weight. You know, he punches hard for middleweight.
Remember when Lloyd Honeyghan beat Donna Curry? I was talking about how big that was today back in the
Undisputed,
80s.
man.
That was.
Yeah.
Remember that happened?
He beat him for Undisputed at 147.
That was
Yeah.
big, man. Back when that happened, yeah. Because
Well,
Donna
the other
Curry
sort
was
of
thought
guy-
to be the next big thing at welterweight at that time.
The other guy was around that Dread guy who beat Turan. What's his name?
British guy?
Yeah, begins with a K. Kirkland Lang, right? Everyone.
Oh yeah, Kirkland Lang. Right.
Everyone.
Kirkland
He
Lang.
was like, but he just didn't have the discipline to
Yeah.
sustain the performances. But he was like kind of
Yeah.
that
He had
sort
a
of
lot
weight, that kind
out
of
the ring stuff.
that time
Yeah.
period, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Did-
Kirkland.
How did y'all see the Dave Allen versus Arslan Beg fight? Do y'all feel like it was as lopsided as the scorecards and the commentary?
It was what they call a shutout, really. When they like he didn't produce. And you think the thing that got him there was the two fights with Johnny Fisher. Johnny Fisher's kind of like, I mean, he's a big guy, but kind of limited and not much of an amateur background. Johnny Fisher was a very good ticket seller in the UK, you know. So those fights
Okay.
got Dave Allen a kind of another opportunity to fight at in a bigger sort of stage.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Dave Allen's, I don't know, he said he put all the effort in, the training and everything. He was very self-depreciating, saying I wasn't kind of good enough
Yeah.
to
We dropped off.
be at that level, you know. But yeah,
Good.
I don't know. I mean, I like Dave Allen. He's a very personable type of guy. But yeah, he said I lacked the ability. You know, I wasn't good enough. So yeah,
I didn't have it that wide, honestly, because there were a lot of moments down the stretch, especially in the back half of the fight, where I'm not even gonna lie to you, I was very pleasantly surprised by Makhmudov's perseverance.
Yeah.
Because I thought he was gonna waver. We seen the fight with Caballero. He got broken down to the body. I don't understand why in the world his trainers keep implementing this crazy method to try to fortify his core. Like they keep hitting him in the midsection with these sledgehammers. I don't know why they do that.
Yeah.
But they did that before the Caballero fight. Then ironically, the guy gets stopped to the body.
Yeah. That was
yeah. Well, they say
They try to
about punch
condition his
resistance, right?
midsection. What's
Punch
that?
resistance. They say about punch resistance. It's like
What an added detail.
taking too many punches, you know. He took too
Yeah.
many.
And then you see the fight that he had with Guido Vianello, big Italian guy. He gets his eye broken up.
Mm-hmm.
That was on the top rank card. So down the stretch, when Allen started putting hands on him and he had him, languishing on the ropes, I'm not gonna lie to you. I thought he was gonna be able to push him to the brink of a stoppage. I thought maybe the ref was gonna intervene, or maybe there would be a corner
Yeah.
stoppage.
Come
They got
on,
shaky, man.
Come
They
on,
got
man.
shaky for
Allen had
Ersan
that
back.
one good
Yeah.
round. He had that one good round. He unloaded like a 10 or 12 punch combination and didn't stop, and then he just, there was nothing left. He threw about 10 or 12 shots in succession. He had Makhmudov against the ropes, but I thought, wow, he's coming on now, and he didn't follow it up.
I'm gonna say this. If those was two Hispanic fighters and they was fighting in Cali, ain't no way in hell Makhmudov won that fight.
Okay,
I don't think so. I don't think that Makhmudov, I don't necessarily thought he did enough. I actually had Dave Allen edging the fight, or I had it a draw.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought the same way, eh?
Yo, because there were so many moments, and this is the one thing I will say about Dave Allen. I felt like he was waiting on, or he was just a little too dependent on counter punches. Well, I think he should have worked a little bit more. I felt like if he would have worked, he would have been able to separate himself. But he was so adamant about finding a counter that I think he did himself a disservice. Because it was very telling, especially when he hit him to the body. Damn near every time he hit him to the body, Makhmudov would clinch. He was holding on.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. There was a lot of holding and a lot of clinching.
A lot of holding.
And it's also the reach difference, right? Dave Allen's arms weren't reaching like Makhmudov's. Big difference.
But he was able to close the gap whenever he wanted to. But to your point, he just didn't work enough.
No. I don't know. No timing, maybe. Just didn't have the kind of counter speed or reflexes. All right. So there's a little bit of distortion from one of you guys. I don't know if it's me or if it's.
I don't know who it is. He dropped off. I don't know.
Okay, guys. Well, look, I better go. But thank you for having me. Okay.
Yeah. Appreciate you. Here we're gonna get on. You got anything else, Sam? We're gonna jump on out of here, but it was a good one. Appreciate you, Keon Call. Good cook.
Right, guys. Look, I better go. All the best and God bless.
Yeah, you be in the chat a lot of times, but I never knew that was you. But yeah, I appreciate you. I'll catch up with you on the next one, all right? I think that might be me with this static. I don't know.
Yeah, it's distorted.
Okay. All right, everybody. Appreciate it. We're going to get on out of here now. That was a good cook on the panel today. I think we're going to profile Donald Curry tomorrow for our Profile Friday. I just came up with that. We was just talking about him. The Lone Star Cobra tomorrow, Donald Curry. Hope everybody enjoyed the boxing in Great Britain today. If you watched the playback, like and subscribe. I thought it was a pretty good one. Okay. Everybody have a great afternoon. I am out.